Hello, everybody. You are here with us with a special segment of Nerdattude Wrestling. I am with Fabian and Alex, of course, who's you may recognize both of them not only from the movie Nerdattude movie podcast, but the gaming streams we've been doing, whether it's Sea of Thieves, Gears of War, whatever tickles your fancy. But we are here today to talk about the 2020 Royal Rumble, as well as a little bit of the Raw afterwards to kind of wrap up some of the storylines that they had thrown out there. So before we do get into the actual Rumble, I do want to go over a couple things related. First off is I think we should kind of talk about the merger, the Peacock merger, basically taking over WWE Network completely and all of its assets. Reportedly $1 billion over 5 years, so $200 million each year for 5 years. What do you guys think?
There's good, bad, there's ugly. It could be good for WWE as a whole, but Vince has been trying to get rid of it for a while because he thinks that he's losing that, he's tanking on it. But
Kind of, I mean, giving away your pay-per-view content for $10 a month, good in the short game. The long game, I don't know.
No, I think it's good in the long game, but it's bad in the short game because they're giving everybody a free month.
I mean,
when you first sign up.
Yeah, I mean, here's
They were doing that anyways, though. Usually,
Yeah,
when you sign up for the WWE Network.
I mean, it should have only been for so many months, and now fucking get into the thing where, guess what, you only get 7 days. You should never get a full month, because once you sign up, hey, guess what, you get whatever pay-per-views in that month. And that's their whole stuff that they were doing on it.
I do know the platforms, a lot of them out there, like even on Apple and stuff, they will cut the free trials before the pay, especially something like Wrestlemania. They'll definitely cut the free trials.
All I know is a lot of people are worried that, the WWE Network has a nice little layout, especially when you're looking for stuff. Some people are worried that it's not going to be as smooth with the Peacock app.
It has gotten user-friendly over time. It was garbage at first, but it has gotten user-friendly over time, which that's a main thing that I care about is the user-friendly part about that.
They finally figured out the fast forwarding of it.
Yeah.
Like when it first came out, it had a huge fast forwarding problem where it was like you had to wait for it to buffer before it would even fast forward, and you would just fucking sit there at that solitary screen.
Or it would cut out, and you'd have to start at the beginning again. Yeah, and I've had that happen to me many times.
I mean, eventually,
I don't think they fixed it on the Apple TV that much because I have those issues still with the Apple TV.
I have them sometimes, but if you're watching a pay-per-view, I do like. Here's the big thing: is Peacock right now for live sports and live events doesn't have a pause feature. It doesn't have a rewind. It doesn't have a start from beginning. So there is an issue going forward of does Peacock absorb the structure of the app as well, so it maintains that being able to fast forward? Are they going to be updating their own software once the merger is fully complete?
Smart.
They could be running into a big issue though, because you're going to have a lot of fans who are used to being able to pause it and do what they do. And then now you're talking potentially like if you're not watching it live, you're not fucking watching it, and me that would be frustrating.
Or getting the option when you come into it late if it says start from the beginning or continue where it's at.
Yeah, the Peacock streaming for live, the Peacock streaming for live doesn't have it.
Okay, I've never messed with the live stuff.
So that's my biggest concern. But like I said, the fact that it'll have Comcast integration is really awesome. That way. Because I got boxes upstairs while I'm making dinner, I could still watch. I do love that. Like I'm looking forward to watching the Yokozuna Icons episode. Like I like a lot of that originals type shit.
Started it and I didn't finish it yet.
Is it good?
Yeah,
it was very good.
Okay, because
From what I saw, I love when they do those things.
Yeah,
they do a really good job.
Remember, I sent you a late night link to that thing when I said finally they're doing something right.
Yeah, it came out right after Rumble. But I like the other shit. I like the Broken Skull stuff. I like the Table for Three. I enjoy those quite a bit.
Yeah, I did like watching that.
And they also have, like I used to love the old when they would put out the DVDs of either the compilations or like here's Stone Cold's documentary story. Like I've watched the Rise and Fall of ECW out there like 3 times.
Yeah. Well,
theirs, but Beyond the Mat.
It's not theirs. Actually, they hate it.
Not theirs. I love that one.
It's not part of WWE. You can tell because
they're anti-WWE. Oh, I love that footage of it when Bret Hart he comes walking out.
Yeah, he's like Vince McMahon's like walking out like, what the fuck just happened?
You know, I'm not a huge fan of Bret Hart. I think he's got the charisma of a beaten dog. But there is something refreshing of him, like the way that story's told. Of he tells him, you know, I'm gonna go take a shower. If you're here when I get back, I'm gonna punch you in the face. And gets out of the shower and dries off, and then punches him in the fucking face. You gotta respect that.
And the way he describes it too, he goes, "I lifted him about 3 or 4 inches off the ground."
I'd believe it.
And then he sprang his ankle after he landed.
Which he was a little wobbly when you see him walking backstage, so I'd believe it.
Because he came out on Raw the next day with a shiner, and he was limping. It was fucking great.
I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing. I get why Bret Hart's pissed about it. Like, I think if it would have been done anywhere but Canada, it would have been a lot less of a slap in the face. But in the same token, you were leaving, dude. Like, you were done. Like, I'm sorry, but when you put your 2 weeks notice in, you don't get the benefits of employees anymore.
Well, he didn't put his 2 weeks notice in. I thought.
No, he told him he was leaving.
He did. He just didn't want to lose it to Shawn because Shawn was a dick during that time.
Shawn was an asshole, but it was also stubborn and ego on Bret Hart's part.
But you know, Bret Hart got suckered into a 20-year deal when his father sold WWE Stampede to Vince McMahon.
Man, how did he go to WCW?
Well, then I guess that's that he talked his way out of the contract then.
Yeah, because he basically told McMahon, like, I'm done, and they were supposed to be on, like, good terms, but the truth of it is he was like, fuck you, I'm out, they're going to pay me more money for less work, which is what he was going to get way more money for less matches, less appearances.
And then he got,
you know, it was the same type deal that, like, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall got when they went over. But then it's like, you don't want to lose to some... Who the fuck are you? You're no longer a WWE asset. You either put him over, or he'll be put over. I'm not necessarily on either side, but it's bullshit on both sides.
Wasn't there also still that caveat in his contract that he has creative control?
He did have creative control. Yeah,
a certain amount of creative control at certain times, and he cashed it all in for that match.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm Vince McMahon.
He did.
Yeah, but if I'm Vince McMahon,
it's a failed cash in.
Yeah, big time. Like, yeah, you shouldn't have saved your chips, buddy.
Money in the bank.
But
yeah,
like that's the thing. Is if I'm McMahon, why should I let you retain the title on the way out? That's my title.
Yeah, you definitely don't.
You're going to a rival organization.
Title. You do know the big reason you watched Rise and Fall of ECW or WCW, or no, you watched ECW or did you watch the Monday Night Wars?
I've watched the Monday Night Wars one as well. I've also watched quite a bit of YouTube because for some reason it focuses me. Like, I fucking love it.
Yeah. So with Monday Night Wars, the reason why, one of the big reasons why Vince did not want Bret to do that was because he had fear that Bret was going to take the title to WCW the next morning.
Mm-hmm. And he would have.
Because Medusa did it.
But he would have, though. Bret would have.
Mm-hmm.
Bret would have, and then he would have taken it, and he would have trashed McMahon.
I think there's a little, because he does have a little degree of morals. Maybe because of with the whole thing that happened with his brother, he might have been persuaded.
Not only that, but look at what the Hart family was. Look at what the Hart family was whittled down to by the end of everybody's career. I mean, the Harts weren't exactly treated the best by McMahon's at the end there. So it's like, I mean, you don't leave to another company if you're happy.
But how many wrestlers that were actually, how do you put it, that were actually fucking popular from the dungeon, from the Stu Hart dungeon?
Exactly.
There's still a lot of wrestlers out there that are from there.
I mean, but you're also talking about the man who fired CM Punk, one of his top 5 guys of all time, on his wedding day via fucking telegram. Like who do you like? My point is, if you're Bret Hart, who the fuck do you think you're dealing with? This isn't. Yeah. You're no longer.
Nobody's bigger than Vince.
Yeah, you're talking about the guy who fucked over and bankrupted every indie promotion and then absorbed them. And that includes ECW and WCW and OVW and all of them. So it's like, when it's like Bret Hart going, how did he fuck you? He gave you a platform and then you jump ship. He gets to do what he wants, in my opinion.
To still say that he absorbed OVW of all that, they're back out there and they have no affiliation with them.
They're independent. Al Snow actually owns ownership in them. Which I think is awesome. I love Al Snow. If you ever want to watch good, honest interviews with a former dude, because I used to love Al Snow. Like, I love the whole head concept and everything.
What does everybody want?
Yeah, and he did that as like basically, he gotten that by like punishment or something because he had outworked somebody, and McMahon was like, "Well, this is your gimmick now," and McMahon's such an asshole. Same thing with Perry Saturn. Perry Saturn worked too stiff, and he hurt the draws. He's the one who paralyzed draws, and because of that, his gimmick was changed to Moppy.
You remember draws, Fabian, or no?
Yeah.
And that was because he was being a dick too. It wasn't like an accident. Saturn was working stiff trying to prove a point.
Draws was new.
Yeah. And he ended up fucking from the neck down, and he wasn't fired, but his gimmick was forever after that. For how many years was he had the mop? Never was taken seriously again in the industry. Then he ended up having all those fucking medical issues.
Was it Perry Saturn or was it D'Lo Brown?
No, it's Perry Saturn.
All right, because D'Lo Brown, I believe, also injured somebody.
Wait, no, D'Lo Brown might have done draws.
That one, yeah.
You might be right about that.
Injured,
because I don't remember who. Perry Saturn fucked with somebody.
I think Perry Saturn was just fucked up on drugs.
It was something where he had a botch or he had a big issue somewhere, and McMahon brought it down to where he had a mop gimmick going.
Yeah, had them.
We're gonna transition. Speaking of McMahon, oh sorry, anything else you guys wanted to say about the merger or anything like that?
I hope it turns out well.
WWE.
I mean,
it's money.
It's money.
I hope it turns out well for the viewers, the people that don't want to get screwed over.
I mean, if you're one of those people who uses your Peacock subscription via Comcast, you are inheriting a lot of fucking content for wrestling. I mean, that's for the consumer. It doesn't sound like a bad move. For them, it sounds like, I mean, you're getting $1 billion over 5 years. It's not a terrible move. I don't know what Peacock's going to gain from it. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming Peacock absorbs every membership holder of WWE Network.
I'm also hoping that it doesn't affect content. It doesn't make them go PG again, because they're just starting to break out of the PG era.
Yeah, but Peacock doesn't have control of that because USA still has Raw and was it Fox still has SmackDown? They are still the two controlling interests of those shows. This is a separate deal entirely. So we would hope, but you never know with fucking McMahon. He might wake up one day and be like, going back to hardcore.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if they go back to the Attitude Era.
Yeah, but you know what? Though? I was thinking about what Undertaker said that he got all the shit for with Stone Cold about them being soft. Look at a fucking wrestler like Ali. Look at him.
He's from Chicago.
He's not all that well defined. He's got soft, feminine-like facial features. Like, Undertaker's right. They're worried about being pretty. Alright, Fabian was frozen for a second. I was getting creeped out. But, like, Undertaker's right. Like, watch the Royal Rumble, and we'll get into what other issues I have with it. But look how many of these dudes are, like, can be fucking models if they weren't doing this. Like, there is a certain prettiness, sheen to the modern-day wrestler.
Well, the whole thing happened was because they went to the PG era.
Yeah.
Because no more people were taking those pop shots to the head to make themselves bleed. You know, they're
got a blade, man. Old school.
But they were starting to get fined for bleeding on TV,
which is stupid.
And that was Vince, because we don't want blood on TV. We can't do it. And if somebody happened to bleed like a bloody nose or a bloody lip, they would get fined.
Yeah, we don't want we don't want what made our most popular, most growing, era in our company to happen again. Why would we want that?
Which was a match between Stone Cold and Bret Hart.
In which fucking didn't Bret Hart break his fucking neck in that match?
No, that was Owen Hart.
Oh yeah,
Owen Hart. Yeah.
Owen Hart.
No, but Bret Hart and Stone Cold. It was the whole thing where he was in the sharpshooter. He never tapped out to Bret, and Bret won because Stone Cold passed out and he was bloody face.
Yeah. I'd say that's iconic though. And now when they show it, it's like black and white.
It's like black and white. Yeah.
Violence. What the fuck? It's a fucking fighting entertainment sport. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's like football being like, all right, guys, we're gonna try not to tackle each other. Do your best to just touch. We're gonna go on the touch rule.
We're gonna use flags.
Yeah,
there's a lot of with that as well.
Put it up in the air.
Well, I mean, I can understand people like these football players. Unfortunately, legitimately become mashed potatoes in there over time. So I can understand that these guys, their body goes through it, but Undertaker still got his shit with him. There's very few of them. Like, the ones who didn't get into major drugs and shit held up pretty well. I mean, fucking Hulk Hogan was in incredible shape through his entire TNA career, you know, so he only fell off when his life started to fall apart. So, which was, you know, you did it, brother. I'll tell you something, brother. Shouldn't say the N-word on the phone. Wherever, really.
That was on the camera with his girl he was sleeping with.
Well, not when you're, like, white as fucking white and you got the fucking Santa Claus mustache, like, just saying. Okay. What's that?
The Nanny.
Mr. Nanny.
Mr. Nanny.
Mr. Nanny. Get it right, sir.
The Nanny. Mr. Nanny.
Great movie. Great movie. We're going to review that in Suburban Commando, I think, on an episode soon. Mr. Nanny is on HBO Max, though, So, I do also want to talk about real quick the fact that Vince McMahon, for the first time, was not at the Royal Rumble. He wasn't present. He was on the phone in Gorilla the whole time. You know, Triple H ran the show. You had Pritchard. And who else was there running it with him?
Kevin Dunn.
Okay. Kevin Dunn.
They said Pierce was a part of it, too. The SmackDown.
Yeah, he unfortunately was not there due to attending his brother's funeral. So his brother passed January 20th, and I believe he missed an entire week of programming for kind of a grieving period. And then he was at his funeral over the weekend. So this is, it's kind of crazy. And I don't know. I thought the Royal Rumble had a nice charge to it. And so I got to wonder what that was from Triple H. And if McMahon was running it, you got to wonder if some of those NXT guys were last minute kind of shifts.
The way it was run, I believe, yes. The way some of the wrestlers performed, no. I mean, it had nothing to do with Vince anyway.
Well, all right.
Like
so
you said, yeah.
I just wanted to mention that. I don't know if you guys have got anything you want to say about it or not, but if not, we'll go right into the Rumble.
Nope.
All right. So we're going to go into the first match, which I'm going to let Fabian go ahead and take off. He's going to lead you through that.
We're going to kick it off with the kickoff show, which had the women's tag team championship on the line. Charlotte Flair and Asuka, the champs, versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. This match really did what it was supposed to, and that was to separate Charlotte and Asuka. Nothing great, personally. It was a filler for me. What do you guys think?
There was a reason why it was on the kickoff show, because Nia and Baszler haven't been. They're being underutilized.
Nia's not being underutilized. They're being cautious of how much damage they want to be allowed to their other fucking performers.
Yeah. Nia face value is intimidating. Nia as a performer, from what I've seen her actively
also intimidating. You don't know what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not intimidating because she's a scary person. It's because she's going to botch and hurt me.
She's too prideful. Like she is it boastful or prideful that I'm trying to get at with her? She is being boastful that she's related to the Anoa'i family. I don't know if I said that correctly. I apologize if I didn't. Anoa'i.
It's pronounced Ohana.
No, I'm talking about Rock's family.
That means family.
But she is boastful that she's like related to the Rock and everybody that way. But she is kind of like sloppy. She does hurt people.
But
I honestly just don't think she realizes how strong she is, which is weird.
Well, she's
to
bigger
say.
than all of them by 4 times. Let's be
can
fucking
easily
real
toss
here. And here's my thing, and it's the same gripe I had with fucking Samoa Joe his entire career.
I got to think about that.
You have every facility available to you to work out. And I'm not trying to shame. I'm just saying, if you're in WWE, that is the fucking gold standard of wrestling entertainment.
Especially NXT.
Yeah, you have everything provided for you to build the best body. You're paid to build the best body. I don't understand why people like Samoa Joe, why Nia Jax are not getting slimmer. They're not getting, Nia Jax, if she should be losing weight. She should be putting on muscle, because I'm getting tired of pretending the fucking pear wrapped in latex is intimidating. Just because she's bigger than them doesn't mean she's a good wrestler, and I'm getting tired of that. She's not Andre the Giant. So when they treat her like the Andre of the women's division simply because she's 4 times their size, I'm getting tired of that. It's enough. Because that's her fucking gimmick. Like, if I saw progress of any kind, whether it be technically, or if I don't have to read a Sports Center article every fucking 2 weeks about her hurting someone, like, I'm sorry, but her size is getting in the way of successfully performing. That's the problem. She can't manipulate her body enough to perform the maneuvers, and it's resulting in people getting hurt. She can't control her own. That's why she broke somebody's fucking nose. She can't control her own movement. She doesn't understand it, and in any physical contact, that's a bad thing.
She nearly dislocated Kari Sane's shoulder and shit. She almost gave her a concussion.
You know, like, if she wants to be the heel, sure thing. But when you're acting the heel and you're legitimately tossing these girls and hurting them, you're not a heel. You're a bad worker, and you're gonna get fucking taken out. Like, maybe it's not like it was in the old school days, but you're gonna get an injury by one of these people who's tired of it. Like, you know, people break.
That's what they call a receipt in the business.
Well, yeah, people break when you deliver too much of that strong style, which I'm tired of strong style being confused with sloppy fucking wrestling. Because that's what it is. She's not strong style. She can't control her own goddamn ham hock and hurts people.
Yeah, I think hers more technical. She definitely needs to work on that. Strength, I have seen her work out.
She can't run, though.
She just doesn't slim down. Oh, no. Cardio isn't going to be her thing.
She can't run. She tried to go rope to rope, and it was...
Oh.
She had... It's just... was it during the Rumble, or was it during that match where she tried to run? And it looked awful.
Awful.
This was that match.
When she did that leg drop?
I'm a big guy. I know that I cannot run. And if I'm on TV, I'm not going to run that way.
Anyways.
And I'm just saying... No, but I do have something to say about you tried to compare Samoa Joe and the Nia Jax thing. Samoa Joe, he is a very fluid wrestler. He can actually move.
No, he's good. He's a great worker, but he should have built some goddamn muscle throughout the 20-year career he had.
Okay, so that I can go with you on that.
I don't have anything regarding Samoa Joe on his worker.
Especially when they have catering given to them, and then they have as far as NXT
personal
goes,
chefs.
They have a fucking gym that they can use for free.
Yeah, I mean, like
especially if they live in Florida, they're fucking there.
He's always been great technically. I actually even like him on the announcing table, to be honest with you. Although he does look like a stuffed sausage in a fucking suit.
He does look weird in his suits, just
like, you know. But he was one of those guys that every time I saw him in the fucking, he would go away for months. And he wouldn't come back any thinner. He wouldn't come back. Don't come back thinner. Come back beefier. Like, but you know, that's my, like, I guarantee you, had he built muscle on that frame combined with his abilities, he would have been a WWE star a lot longer before he was, and he would have been shot to the fucking top because McMahon would have looked at him, and you know McMahon's fucking materialistic eye.
Gary McMahon is right here.
You know, like that. But that's the truth of it, though. That's the business, or how it was. And by him refusing to just put on muscle, you locked yourself out of good years. You could have been at the top fucking company. That's
if
just
I had
the truth.
If I had access to their gym, and the right people fucking giving me food.
Access.
This would not look like this.
Not only access, but paid.
This would not look like this.
Paid to work out. You're paid to be in good shape. That's your job.
And I was living in Florida.
I don't think he's defined, but I'm pretty sure he's pretty strong.
I'm not. I don't strong doesn't matter. I'm talking physique.
Okay.
Like we've already established, he's a great worker, but his physique terrible from the moment he came in. Well, he's slightly okay when he first started. Got just terrible his entire whatever career through TNA and WWE.
All right, my apologies for going to Samoa Joe, but let's get back to the tag titles for the women's.
Yes, please. Sorry,
I apologize.
Shut the fuck up.
You had threw it to me, to one of us about it. So we discussed about Nia kind of fumbling around. There were some missed things, and I'm getting tired of it because these guys are performing all the time, or maybe that's the reason why it's happening. But like even when Charlotte was doing some moves with Nia and Baszler, however you want to call her.
Baszler.
It does look kind of off. It does look kind of off. And then especially with Asuka, she's a great wrestler too, and she wasn't performing at the caliber she is for the women's champion.
With Baszler and Jax, they couldn't get any fluidity because both of them are so fucking stiff.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's the other thing about Baszler is she's good at certain people that she fights, but when she's fighting Asuka, I've always noticed, and Charlotte, there is some kind of some stiffness and stuff that doesn't look right.
I love Charlotte. I like the new gimmick they have her doing of just kind of like the humble wrestler, because that's what she's basically portraying.
What?
Yeah, you haven't noticed that this whole what they're trying to do with her?
No, she's going to do the border.
No, have you been watching the in between the matches?
What they want us to do is feel bad for her right now, trying to make her a face again.
But that's what I'm saying. They're trying to move her over to babyface, so they have those inter-betweens with her and Asaka about I just feel bad that I let her Asuka. I don't give a shit. Green face lady. Flair's talking about I feel bad that I let her down and blah blah blah. They're trying to babyface her again, but for so long she was the fuck you, I'm gonna step on you on the way up type gimmick. So
before she left, I think they were doing the same thing, but she didn't do it that well. She was trying to be babyface, but she kept doing heel things, and you didn't know what she was supposed to be.
I feel like she stopped doing whatever she was doing with Botox or implants to her cheeks or whatever.
I'm happy she did,
because she looks she's much more like she used to in NXT now.
She didn't need it, and we're going to talk about this later. But Carmella doesn't need it either, but she's using too much of it. There's too much in Mella. But you were saying about Charlotte. She was at the beginning of the pandemic. She was on the top. She was the NXT champion fighting Rhea Ripley. And right when all that stuff started, she was starting to become that humble person you were talking about.
Yeah.
But she went out. I think it was some kind of injury. I don't know if it was a real injury.
I think she just needed I think what it was is she needed a break, and McMahon was like, "They really hate you. You need to go."
One of her breasts was her implants.
Yeah, there was some kind of
issues. Yeah,
is that same one that popped before?
Yeah, probably.
Shit, I can't imagine. Mine are real, so.
And when she came back and they put her with Asuka, I don't think they were planning on having this title thing to go like that.
It's just a transition into the Evans feud.
They always seem to feel like they owe Charlotte something every time.
No.
They gave her the belt in NXT. Ripley was supposed to take off, and then they changed it for Charlotte.
Okay, can you argue it's any different with Becky Lynch?
No, because
Becky, I want to say, was more self-made.
No. Here's the thing, though. You got to remember, they were the 4 horsewomen. No. They all came in. They all did their thing at the same time. And Charlotte gets her ass kicked. Lynch gets her. Lynch is not even officially announced that she's coming back. And I guarantee McMahon's already fucking rubbing his hands. No. Those ladies, except for Sasha Banks, has fallen somewhat out of favor. Bayley has still had spotlight for how long? Those 4 women kind of get their ass kicked. So it depends on how you look at it. It's either a view of these women contributed this much to this that they deserve to be shined on, or it's all right. Enough. It's been a decade. Enough.
If you want to talk about the 4 horsewomen, it was supposed to be a build-up for that and Ronda Rousey, Baszler, and then the 2 girls from NXT. It was supposed to be a whole 4 thing, going at it, because they call themselves the 4 horsewomen as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there was supposed to be a whole thing about that, but it took too long, and that's the thing. They wait too long to put these out there, and then now nobody fucking cares, because where are the other 2 girls? They're not even on fucking NXT anymore, or are they? I haven't seen them.
What other 2 girls?
I think they had separated them for a while.
There was 2 other MMA girls. Really tall.
Okay,
yeah,
all right. Well, we'll go into that, because that transitioned into a point that I feel the women's division has. And I'll highlight it when we get into the Women's Rumble, because the Women's Rumble really accents the issue.
I did want to say one quick thing about what you're saying about Charlotte. The reason why they're doing that whole thing where they're making her seem like she's being sympathetic about everything is because they don't have real fans there to cheer, and they have to can in all that cheering stuff for you to make you feel like you're supposed to cheer that. I don't like that, but that's what I have to say about that.
I mean, I don't know. My least favorite part of the entire thing was Bad Bunny. But we'll go into that. Fucking that and on Raw.
It's Bad Bunny.
Oh God.
It's playa, not playa.
wrapping up this match, it really ended with Flair coming out, Ric Flair.
And he looks like he's
He has
having
music.
a lot of fun too.
Yeah,
He
well, he loves wrestling, so like, however he can get in it,
Money,
he'll
man.
be in
It's all
it.
about that
Well,
money, huh?
he's doing two things real quick. He's doing two things. He's pushing his daughter, and he's helping out another wrestler. So go ahead.
And,
Basically, him and Lacey Evans come out, distract Charlotte for a little bit. Then they go ringside. Charlotte is in her figure eight. Lacey Evans pulls her away, releasing that hold. And then Rick eventually gives her brass knuckles for a woman's right, which knocks out Charlotte. And then Nia Jax sits on her.
Nia Jax sluggishly tries to bounce off the rope and piddle patter her big legs through to
leg
get to
drop.
fucking Charlotte Flair, and the sloppiest leg drop I've ever seen. Because you want to know why? Because Charlotte Flair would have knocked her the fuck out had she have botched it. So she was trying to be extra fucking gentle.
So I don't know if you noticed it, but I think she might have botched it because I feel like she said sorry after.
Yep. She also had a little stumble. I guarantee you she
Yeah.
went down harder on Flair than she
I
wanted
think
to.
she said sorry at the end of that. So
Welcome to the Rock's cousin, Nia Jax.
that match did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Bore you?
Jackson Baszler are champs again. Flair and Asuka separate. Asuka is not going to go on, be the women's champ, and be forgotten because that's what just happens to the Asian wrestlers here. And then Flair and Lacey Evans will continue their feud. Eventually, I'm assuming Flair will win the title, and then that feud will continue somehow.
So Ric Flair's going to come back and win his 19th world title for the women's championship. That's what you're saying, right?
I thought when
No,
he
the
came out,
24/7 champ.
I thought he legitimately was entering the Rumble. I was like,
Yeah, we'll talk about that one. But
all right. So the next match we're going. I'm sorry, you guys done all on the women's tag match?
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys did, you guys want to grade that match? There really is nothing to say. It was meh.
We can give it a, if you want to do out of a five star, we can. You go ahead and lead the way.
1 star, and that's
1
being nice
star.
because it just
So
It was
being
more.
nice on top of
it was
it.
bad.
I want to get on his
Yeah,
bad side.
yeah. It wasn't good. It
Alex,
wasn't
go
good at
ahead.
all.
All right, for me, overall, I'm going to say 2 because I just don't like. I like that they finished at least one story to get started on another story, but I didn't like. I didn't like the performance as far as all 4 of them. Like I said, man, Asuka's a good performer, but working with the other 2, it's not working. And even Charlotte has her bad moments, and it's starting to look kind of crazy. So it's just a 2-star for me.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2 star as well. I don't know. I don't like Nia Jax. I don't like Baszler. Baszler reminds me of an overgrown Oompa Loompa. She's stiff. Her black mouthpiece makes it look like she's got no fucking teeth. And it's. I don't know. I'm not. It's not. I'll actually talk more about. It's not just Baszler I have the problem with. It's that gimmick entirely. But I'll talk more about that when we get to the Rumble because it'll be an issue that I'll highlight.
Real quick with Baszler, I think she's a lot better performing as a singles competitor.
Yeah, there's no reason
she's a lot better.
Well, then you got to carry the other one is the problem. You got your own style, then you got to worry about Nia Jax fulfilling her end of the bargain. And frankly, like at this point, if you got a wild card in this game, why are you allowing that? I mean, as an organization, why isn't she down in development or something? I mean, they sent away Big Show when he ballooned up in weight. They took him off TV for fucking 6 months or whatever it was, or maybe a little bit less, maybe like 3 months, until he lost fucking weight or built muscle. So it's like back in the day there was a certain like this is where you need to be, and if you're not, we got plenty of fucking roster. We'll bump you. But the problem is with AEW eating up a lot of stars. I don't, I mean, I think a lot of it's coming from the within development, and right now. Who said it best? They did an interview with God, I can't remember who it was, but he was an old timer, and he basically said that the problem was, I think it might have been Taker who kind of talked about it. Conan also said he thought that the idea was that all of the guys of the same age, kind of retired out at the same time. So the new talent coming in only learned from new talent. So they developed an entire different WWE style that was far removed from the Attitude Area and has kind of progressed more to the we're storytellers who do physical action. And I think that's a problem I think that's one of the problem with the products is the entertainers themselves aren't willing to push the envelope.
Here's one little thing I think about. I think it's also the writers that they're using. It's all yes men. It's nobody that wants to push an envelope. There's nobody that wants to say, "Hey, I really think this is what it's going to be."
Vince got rid of the other ones that wanted to do their own thing.
The thing too is
so
he keeps firing and hiring, and writers are not even on contract. A lot of them, they're just a revolving circle. But I think that there's a lot of storyline that they want to use Baszler and Baszler or whatever. But they won't because they're saving it because they're hoping to get everything all together, So with Ronda Rousey, with all the other two, but you can't do that because look, everybody wants to have a fucking life now. So they're having children. They're having.
I have an opinion on the issue with Baszler. Other than that, but that'll when I go on my fucking rant during the Rumble, the Women's Rumble.
All right.
So we're gonna move on to the second match, which was the WWE Championship, Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre. I like Drew McIntyre. I don't know how much I like him as a babyface. As a heel, he was great. As a babyface, he's kind of got I still root for him, but it's also the dude's jacked. He's a big dude. He's not it's not like a underdog story. So the babyface for him, he's a great worker. Goldberg on the other fucking hand, I have a couple notes for Goldberg, and I am a big proponent of Goldberg. I find he's in incredible shape for his age. But age comes other things. For one thing, he's fucking slow. He's slow like I'm trying to play WWE 2K18 on the Nintendo Switch slow. Okay? He's fucking slow. He's still got strength. He was able to lift McIntyre he wasn't able to hold him, but he was able to lift him.
Still strong. Dropped him. He almost dropped him.
Sorry. He almost lost that spear.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
I'm sorry, not the spear, the jackhammer.
Goldberg is now a liability, though, because you don't know what form he's going to be in, and there's only so many times I'm going to accept, it's rusty. If you're rusty every match, just stay out of it. He is a liability because there was a couple times when you could see noticeable botches where McIntyre's, the way he acted it off was just kind of staring at him because he's just kind of he had that, Sting versus Jeff Hardy in TNA moment, I think, where it was just kind of are you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is an issue. Goldberg needs to stay out of the fucking ring. My opinion,
I think he's
dangerous.
He should officially retire.
Yeah. You're a Hall of Famer. Maybe unjustly
Those
due.
paychecks are crazy, though.
I get that, but, Drew McIntyre's paychecks will be crazy when he's fucking paralyzed from a botched jackhammer. When that lawsuit fucking goes through. When you're talking about risking talent that's going to be essentially supposed to be the future of the fucking company. McIntyre's early 30s? He's going to be going for, or maybe not even that, 29 or something like that. He's got another decade in him if he treats his body right, which he looks like he's doing. So it's if you work him right and you don't kill his fucking gimmick, and you don't make him come out with a goddamn sword and a kilt every fucking fight, come on. And once again, this is WWE, the land of making Hornswoggle the fucking leprechaun. So he's
35, by the way.
35. So he's got another 5 to 7 years, and then he can move into other roles in the company because he's gone through NXT and all the way up, so he knows the program.
He's going to be an actor. He's going to be the next Braveheart.
That's racist. But yeah,
he's doing it right now. Come on.
The Goldberg ends up losing it. They both have a series of basically pissing match moves towards each other, and McIntyre lays him out. I don't have much to say about it. It was a shit match. McIntyre deserved better at fucking Royal Rumble. Let's hope we all know I won't say that because technically we haven't announced who won the Rumble. So I'm gonna let you guys give just a quick opinion on this match, and then we're gonna move on to the next one. We're gonna not take very long on.
If you'd like to go, Fabian, go for it.
Yeah, this match would have been great with Goldberg in his prime. Not being in his prime, he's just not as strong as he used to be. So a lot of his gimmick was strength. He was able to do things because he was super strong.
Yeah.
Now that's kind of gone away. So he was never really good technically.
No.
Now he's just dangerous, extremely dangerous. But it's every other Goldberg match he's had recently. Everybody hits a finisher, everybody kicks out of it, and eventually somebody wins.
He's intense.
Luckily, it was McIntyre. Because if it would have went the other way,
Dude,
that would have stuck.
I was hoping they were going to go the other route and really put McIntyre over and just have him demolish Goldberg right from the start, like Goldberg did in that one match, and just do a 20-second match if he lays him out and pins him.
Wasn't it Strowman?
Strowman. The one that he won was against the Fiend, where he just kept hitting him with his finishers. And then the one with Strowman again was a finisher freaking thing, and then eventually Strowman won.
Yeah, Strowman beat the shit out of Goldberg. The Goldberg beat the shit out of Fiend.
Yeah.
And then Strowman beat the shit out of Goldberg.
I was hoping McIntyre, they were going to put him over better, where McIntyre just fucks him up and like pins him and wins it within a minute. And like just shows like, yeah, no, he's old.
Well, it was close. It was like 5 minutes.
You know,
yeah, to show that the spear really hurts still.
Yeah, and you give McIntyre credit, but there's only so much you can work. Where he's like, it's like fighting my dad. Like, have you seen McIntyre's dad? He looks like a skinny version of Goldberg.
He's my dad.
But yeah, I'm done with that match. I don't know about you guys.
So just real quick though, man, it was like you were saying, finisher. So there was spear, 4 count, Claymore, 4 count, Claymore, 4 count, or no, not 4 count, but like they were like
the match would have been over.
You know what I mean, but like they were trying to get up out of the ring or whatever.
Well, like the problem is with these matches when McIntyre looks at Goldberg and he's like with that disbelief he's getting up. I always feel it's because he's worried he's having a heart attack. Like it's no longer like, am I going to have to fight him more? It's like, do you need a hospital? You know what I mean? Like
that's another thing. After that match,
yeah, McIntyre looked
extremely concerned for Goldberg.
Like generally,
and then he kneeled down on the ramp. I was just like, holy shit, what's going on with Goldberg?
Yeah, like I was like, is he wheezing?
It could have been him selling it.
Maybe
it could have been him selling it. But one of you did say something about that. He did look hurt to you. Fabian, I can't remember who it was that was telling me.
Fabian.
Yeah, you were saying that he looks legitimately hurt. I don't know. I didn't see that, but I thought it was Goldberg's first time of actually good storytelling because he is a beaten man.
Well, if you go back to that, you'll see that they talk. You know, they're like, "Oh, good match," blah blah blah, and then you see Goldberg just like breathing really hard, like he was struggling.
And then
Drew goes up to the turnbuckle to taunt and show off that he won. Yeah, and then he looks over to the right, and Goldberg's just on the thing. He looked legit concerned that he was kneeling, like on the ramp.
Like you're gonna hear a story where it's like Goldberg in a month. Yeah, man, I hit my head and I had a concussion. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be one of those things.
That's the other part of that match. Yeah, the other part of that match where he was setting up for the final Claymore, where Goldberg missed his like little tackle thing.
Yep.
It focused on Drew for a really long time, which is why I was like, man, something might have happened.
I think he was a little stunned at the minimum.
Yeah, this guy loves to hit his head on things.
Like the match in Saudi.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he keeps like concussing himself trying to do this stuff because he's not good technically.
No, true.
Like he needs to stop that.
Well, if you're gonna have Goldberg, he should just basically either put people over or come in and have a 1.5-minute long match where it's just
a cinematic match.
Yeah,
give me that.
I would do a cinematic match.
Protect him, please.
Goldberg probably would be better with cinematic matches.
I like cinematic matches. I really do.
If they're done well, yes.
Yeah, like I love the AEW and the Stadium cinematic match with the Hardys, Matt Hardy.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
One of the greatest. Well, there's a couple times in the Royal Rumble for this year that tickled my inner child a little. But the AEW Stadium when Matt Hardy's coming out as different versions of Matt Hardy, I was 11 years old again. Like, no, that's the Hardy Boys. My wife is like,
did you know that there was a throwback to when the Hurricane showed up? He fell into the lake of the lake for the Hardys, and he disappeared, and he showed up back in AEW.
Yeah,
and that's why Hurricane has that line.
Okay,
that's why Hurricane has that line. What took so long, or more or less?
It was
like almost a year or two after from TNA to AEW.
Huh. I actually really liked Hurricane in his prime, but he never needs to enter a ring again.
He's
a writer for them
since his injury.
Well, the announcer was like, "Looks like he's been working out," and I'm watching it. I think I texted you guys. I was like, "He looks fucking terrible. He doesn't look like he's seeing the inside. He uses a Bowflex 3 days a week for 20 minutes. What are you fucking talking about? He looked terrible with a big beer belly. Fuck out of here."
I remember when he had that accident, he would keep tweeting pictures of his leg and shit. Oh my god.
Well, the problem is Hurricane, when he first started in WWE, he wasn't in his prime shape, and then McMahon must have had come on, you got to build your body. And then all of a sudden, Hurricane stopped being Hurricane because Hurricane wanted to be Jack Helms because he had the steroid shoulders. And then Hurricane, he went back to Hurricane, and then his character was basically wiped from existence. But that's the problem, is he was in great shape at one point. So, like, you see him now, and, you know, you remember the him and Kane storyline, and it's like, man, that's when Hurricane was awesome. He was legitimately funny.
He was awesome in 3 Count.
In what?
Do you even know that? WCW?
No.
Ah, okay.
You
Go Google it.
Yeah, don't tell us or anything, because why would you want to inform the audience of something you just fucking referenced?
It was during the boy band era, so he was part of 3 Count.
Oh God, I'll have to go. I'll go look it up, I guess.
It's a visual, man. You have to see it. They weren't very popular back then, but it's fucking
It's
awesome.
not very popular now.
But once you see it, you'll make it popular.
All right, is that it? Is that it for Goldberg's sloppy ass performance?
We're good. The test is over. Drew passed the test.
Oh, that's right. What was the test? Yeah.
I passed the test. I had to get over a geriatric. All right, Fabian, the third match is, you go ahead and lead us into the third non-important match.
Real quick, that one star.
Oh, yeah. Alex,
Good.
what do you give the Goldberg match?
Goldberg, Drew. Fuck. I don't know, man. It's tough because
1 star. It didn't help Drew. Let's be honest.
no,
It didn't make
it did help him in a way.
It doesn't make you look good when half the match you're looking at the guy like, am I going to be able to do the finish? Like, are we going to be able to do this? It doesn't help.
I'm gonna have to do 2 stars again.
When you're worried about carrying the guy in the match with you to the point where, like, literally lifting him up, that's a 1-star match, all right? And not Drew McIntyre's fault. Goldberg is entirely to blame. He's out of shape.
He's trying.
Trying can hurt people, though. That's the problem, is trying and not doing in that industry is how motherfuckers can't walk the rest of their life. Like, you can't do that. He needs to know his own limits, because here's the thing. The whole thing is, I got a kid, I got this wife, I want them to see me in the ring, blah, blah, blah. What happens if you fuck up and you can't walk the rest of your life because you did a jackhammer, you twisted the wrong way, and broke vertebrae in your fucking spine? You're older. You're lifting a lot of weight above your head, and you clearly can't do it to the caliber you used to. What happens when your body gives out? Like, that's the worry, is like, for his safety and other wrestlers' safety. I don't know. It's the same worry I have about Sting in AEW.
It's gonna be interesting to see how you do that.
I blame Rollins for that one.
You know, they're waiting. They're waiting for their pay-per-view to do the match, but you know, I mean, if here's my thing: if he was supposedly healthy to fight, why isn't he in WWE? Why weren't, you know what I mean? Like, something's not right there. All right. What?
Good. Yeah, we're not doing that right now. We're not doing that one right now, but yeah.
Okay. We'll have an episode about AEW soon, just in general.
So you said 1 star as well?
Yeah, I'm 1 star in that match. It was terrible.
I did too. Yeah.
Watching poor Drew McIntyre have to look at Goldberg on the mat with that, like, oh fuck face. I felt terrible for the guy. Like, you deserve better, buddy. You're a good worker. Goldberg deserves better too, because now
he's one of those guys that took the time when he got kicked out to come back and improve his body,
just like Jinder Mahal.
So
Jinder Mahal was, you know, he was like, you know, he was okay. Then he came back ripped like fucking Jesus, and look, he got a push. And it doesn't, you know, it also helps that McMahon's always trying to tap into that Indian market. But all right, so next match is Fabian. Go ahead.
That'd be the SmackDown Women's Championship. Sasha Banks defending against Carmella and her sommelier. What is
Reginald?
Reginald. There you go.
In my opinion, the most least important match of the entire thing.
I actually enjoyed this match. I think Sasha Banks, like we've talked before, is a really good worker. Yeah. Carmella has improved a lot, I think. Although she did have a really big one that Sasha saved her life, I think, personally.
Oh, fuck yeah.
When she went diving through those ropes, Sasha caught her. And then you could, again, another one where you can see that Sasha's just like, are you okay?
Yep.
And luckily, like, they were able to finish the match because Sasha legit caught her in midair.
You got to give credit. Sasha's a great worker. Like, what makes a great worker is not only technical skill, not only personality, but the ability to be aware of everything. And,
what's going to happen.
You know, like, I mean, I always go back to the story of Triple H defending Stone Cold about the guy who runs into the ring. Like, a great worker is somebody that's got 360 awareness, is not only trying to do their performance, but making sure the other performers are safe. Like, you got to give a lot of props to Sasha Banks for that one.
Carmella is a great worker. She's learned a lot as time's gone on. She's improved a shitload. But I think at the beginning of her first run, she was a lot better. And I don't know if it's a cockiness that's made her not perform that good. So in between, like those runs, she's dropped off, and this time she's kind of done a little better.
I'm just not sure what her gimmick is.
That's the thing, is you've got gimmick manipulation every 5 seconds. She doesn't know which way to fucking be.
Yeah.
That's McMahon toiling. Like, maybe you're a bunny rabbit now. It's like, what the fuck?
So, like,
also,
is she a professional wine taster now? That's why she has a sommelier all the time. Like,
I'm also done with fucking everybody getting Botox in fucking the women's division. I don't like it. Fuck the Botox.
Charlotte, baby, stop getting the Botox. You look much better without it. Just stop it.
Carmella too.
And your fake mole. I'm glad it's gone. Don't do it.
And I get it's all like self-care and you know what makes them feel better. Fine, that's fine. But the Botox, you could tell when it's bad. When you're,
I mean, this is something that they have to do for Vince.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but is it just
me? You don't look pretty, you're not getting on there.
Yeah, but is it just
Vince.
me, or did the divas of when Fabian and I, like the Attitude Era, were just so much better? Like, you had people like Trish Stratus, who was half plastic, but she was incredible. She aged like fine wine, and like like even ladies like Sable, who was Vince McMahon's golden fucking girl, blonde-haired, big, like, you know what I mean? That's Vince's image of a woman. She's held up well. So there's I don't know, man. There's something to say about it where it's like, I don't know. Is it him pushing to the extents, or is that rat race just that bad between them where they feel this is where they need to go? Because the problem is, you do it too much, you fall out of favor because, people are looking at you like, okay, meh. And then you fall out of favor. Yeah, you fall out of favor with McMahon, and then you're on the side of the road again. So it's like, I don't know if it's him or if it's their perception of what he wants. Whether it's, okay, I got to go bigger, I got to go more of this, I got to go this. And I'm not going to 100% blame McMahon. Yeah, he's the driving force to say I want perfection, but
I think Stephanie runs the female division, doesn't she?
I think everything still ends at Vince.
It still ends at Vince? Okay.
Yeah.
I think Triple H
is the reason a lot of this stuff happened.
I gotta look into that.
I agree. Yeah, she creates stuff for the women's division, but still, again, buck stops at Vince.
Stephanie McMahon,
yes or no.
She is a PR woman. She knows the business, but she is a PR woman. She may be the wrangler, but she's a PR woman. Everything else goes through him, every fucking storyline, everything. And I guarantee you, him and Triple H and Stephanie have probably had serious battles about how some of the gimmicks have been treated. I guarantee you.
Quick side note. In my basement, I have in my storage facility totes. Fucking, what is it, 4 feet long, 3 feet deep, of fucking wrestling magazines from the 80s and on. WWE. And if you go through them, you can find like the ordering sheets, and you look through the catalog, you'll see Stephanie McMahon wearing fucking like Randy Savage or Hulk Hogan. She started out as a fucking model for all their wrestling gear. So just, quick side note.
Woman. Why not?
I still remember when she first came back enhanced, and Jericho had that storyline against her, where he put both images side by side. That is forever ingrained in my head, because he's like, somebody came back. Jericho used to be great. He's still great, but
great, yeah.
He's looking like one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle villains with his jacket and everything at this point. All right, so anything further we want to rate this match?
There were a lot of good moves, man, just so you know.
Yeah, this one for me, it was a 4. Like, these women's really did put on a show. As far as like singles matches, obviously the second one could be the first one for me, depending on the way, like how
better than the
Goldberg
McIntyre match and the tag match combined.
Yeah, so at this point, this one really did start making the pay-per-view better for me.
This was the first match of actual decent performances.
So,
yeah, 4 for me.
4 for you? Okay.
Mhm.
So, like I said, Mela, she does wrestle well. She does put on a good show. I did have a couple worries that Somali, what's his name, Reginald, was gonna make Corey Graves break character because the way he kept staring at her and like trying to like eat her, through his eyes. Because Corey Graves,
when they were walking down, yeah.
Corey Graves and Carmella are an item. I swear to God, one of these days Corey Graves is gonna fucking break character and just like go after whoever's fucking on Carmella.
Yeah, and re-injure himself. Fuck off.
Just 1 hit to the head, concussed.
I have a big problem with Sasha as a character being pushed all the time, but she does work well. She does perform top notch most of the time. They have their things, but she does perform top notch in a lot of her events. She does have the bad luck of being a 1 month champ, which finally she broke that.
Which isn't her fault.
That's good. No, it's all booking. It's all how they push everybody.
Yeah, they're horse shit politics.
So she finally broke that, and I'm afraid that the only reason why she broke that was because they don't have anybody else to put in the SmackDown title reign right now.
I do want her to have a gimmick change though.
Yeah.
I'd like something else besides the boss. That's
I'm
for a real long time.
Boss. It's been since NXT.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to use her Snoop Dogg clout either. I don't want her to use her cousin as
well. Her entrance music is Snoop Dogg.
I know, but I don't want. I want her to build on her own shit. And she was doing I like the frog splash. She started doing that more often because she is a big time Eddie Guerrero fan, and I know that.
Yeah.
If she started doing that,
was a big wrestling fan. Period.
Instead of that bank statement, I like that even more. But that whole backcracker into a bank statement is fucking nice. But yeah, for me, I'm gonna go 3.5. You guys said you said 4. I'm gonna go 3.5. Because Mela still has to fucking make her money. Oh, sorry, I threw her old gimmick in there. Apologize.
Ooh.
I was gonna give it a 3.5, but I'll give it a 4 for the Sasha Banks save. It was a good match. I don't know. For me, it's like, it's a good match to watch the taste out of your mouth of that fucking Goldberg match. But all right, Fabian, what was the next match?
The next match would just be the Women's Royal Rumble.
What is the Royal Rumble?
It has some pretty surprising entrance. So I had watched it a lot as a kid, wrestling and then I stopped for a really long time. So
yeah, me too.
When the first surprise person came out, Jillian Hall, I was just like, I don't know who the hell this person is.
You didn't?
No.
Really?
Luckily, I had a friend of mine who did watch it during
was.
that time. So I was just like, who is this person? Why is she singing? Why is it so awful? He's like,
you
well,
didn't
that was
know
her
who
gimmick.
Julian Hall is?
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
So here's the thing about Jillian Hall. Let me school you real quick, since you don't know. She came out as JBL's fucking spokesperson, right? She was like his mouthpiece.
Okay.
And she had this weird fucking thing on her face that was like kind of like a protrusion of like a deformity. And she would always come out and nobody wanted to look at her because, she had this hideous thing on her, but everybody had to hear her yell. So the reason why she looks like she does now was because the Boogeyman came out and he ate that thing off her face and made her normal.
Okay, so I have seen that clip, so
Okay.
I didn't know that's who she was. Okay.
And then she became a pop star.
It's good to know about Jillian Hall. Speaking of Jillian Hall, before that, she had like a little pairing with Billie Kay, who came in at 4. She didn't immediately go into the ring. She stayed out, started talking on the broadcasting team, and then as people came out, Shotzi was the first one after her. She tried to give a headshot resume of her to be a partner or a tag team, which I don't understand because she was part of a tag team.
Is this called a caveat that I'm going to throw in here? Matt, what was your thoughts on Shotzi Blackheart? The tank girl.
She's pretty hot.
But what was your first thought when you saw her come out in the tank?
Oh, I thought that was just so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, WWE is known for that sort of shit, whether it be Triple H coming out to plastic Terminator surrounding him, but like, it was just, I don't know, it's the way she was driving and she was acting like she was getting fucking whiplash with it. It's like, it's a little like fucking Hot Wheels go-kart. Like, what are you doing?
So she's done it a lot of times, but this time I feel like she really didn't have a good control of what was going on with everything, because she kept looking down at it too. So like,
and then she shot the. I don't know. I just found it like
I think it was a new thing.
Like if I was one of the other women though, I would have sprinted and drop kicked her while she sat in the tank, and just for the first 3 minutes she gets to sit in her tank all fucked up. Like that would have been a much better entrance.
Going in circles.
Yeah, you know, like you know. It was annoying. I hate, and I'm going to make this point early. That way, so while we go through it, my point can be reinforced. There are only 5 different gimmicks in the women's division. Just 5. Tough girl. That applies to, tough girl / MMA. How many does that apply to? Baszler, Rousey, the What's-Your-Face came back trying to act that way. Ruby Riott was acting like she knew how to do MMA. So then the second...
What's-Her-Face on Raw. I can't remember her name right now. She's come back right now. She's in a suit now.
But you understand. So then I have the punk / emo rock chick. How many of those in that? And here's the problem with the women's division. A Royal Rumble match, when you got 30 of them in the ring, really highlights the flaws. And this is how I was able to pinpoint this. Then you've got the preppy / energetic girl. I also have / ego in that term. So how many does that apply to? Then you have sporty. I have sporty, so this is either 4 or 5, but sporty / cultural. Think of all the women of color on that women's division. They're either sporty or trying to highlight the cultural element of who they are. That is the only 4, maybe 5 gimmicks in the entire women's division. And when you have a Royal Rumble match, when they're all in the same ring together, it really highlights the problem. There's no differentiation between one from the other. They're like the fucking Spice Girls. You could literally lump them into categories. These are my MMA tough chicks, including, Jabba. These are my sporty, preppy, cheerleader type girls. These are my dark, weird, mysterious girls. Oh, so that's 5 right there. You're right. Dark, weird, mysterious. Then you got punk rock / emo. So and any one of them can interchange the heel. The preppy can be the heel because preppies are bitches, or she can be the friend because nobody likes a preppy bitch who's been nice to people, more than the audience. So that's the big problem is you watch this Royal Rumble and you've got literally 5 or 6 characters running around the entire time.
I don't know. Depends. I mean, they all have their own little separate stories of how their life goes.
Yeah, but that's the character.
Yeah, but they all do kind of get into.
Yeah,
that goes back to
I hear you. I hear you.
Get these characters actually out there.
Everybody's
creating characters.
You did forget the patriotic.
She'd be under that preppy.
You can include that.
Boastful one. Yeah.
You can either do that. You can include that in preppy or cultural / sporty.
Lacey Evans, really?
Preppy,
cultural, sporty.
Literally name any.
And they're kind of going away from that as well too.
Literally
with the whole Ric Flair thing.
Name any WWE women's entertainer, and I'll put them in a category right now.
I agree. So I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Fabian understands. Alex.
So what do you think about Natalia?
Strong.
You know what? No. I'm also old school. So there is a category for Diva veterans, which are still. I mean, and if you really want to do another category, but there's not many. There'd be basically this would be Nia Jax and Victoria. You could have the out of shape category if you like.
Oh God, Victoria!
She looked fucking terrible.
Yeah, I'm glad they stopped her from doing that fucking moonsault.
But here's the thing: there is a category I didn't think about, which is we're gonna just make it a category, the boss bitch category. That would be Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks.
So is that 7 now?
It's anywhere between 6. I'm gonna say 6 because sporty cultural I'm including as 1. Sporty / cultural. So,
all right, so Alicia Fox is Psycho.
That you can do as the punk rock / mysterious.
No, she's not mysterious. She's not Psycho. Or she's not. No.
Yeah, no.
She is fucking Psycho. If you watch her character gimmick throughout her career, she is fucking stupid Psycho.
But that gimmick revolves into the mysterious girl, the dark mysterious girl. It's all the same thing.
she's not dark though. She's out there putting her shit out there. The dark girls are the ones that kind of brood and fucking.
So what category would you place her into?
The psycho, like the fucking not so there.
How many of those are in the WWE right now?
Right now,
Yeah.
2 or no, one. Nikki Cross.
So the two.
Depending on where you see Alexa Bliss.
Well, no,
Wait, no,
Alicia
Cross
Fox is retired.
Cross is not. No, what are we talking psycho now? Because now
Cross
we're blurring
used
the
to be
lines.
psycho.
No, but
Yeah.
now
Cross used to be psycho. I don't know if her gimmick is still the same.
So
She kind of came in
so
with it.
psycho is its own category. So now we have 7 categories. So out of 30 women, we have 7 categories.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's a problem. Out of 30 entertainers, you have 7 gimmicks. That's a problem, and that's why the WWE's women's division is petering to nothing right now. After all that build up with the NXT and the horsewomen and all that, it's dying out. Ronda Rousey, people can hate her. She pumped that fucking division up. They pushed her properly to the point of exhaustion, and that's why people hated her. Because McMahon does what he always does. He Charlotte Flaired her, but the problem is she was only there a year, so he condensed all of the Charlotte Flairing into 1 year.
It was also garbage.
Yeah, and it wasn't great.
It was garbage.
Her
It
run.
wasn't good.
But
Her mic work.
But here's the
Oh,
thing:
yeah,
you
yeah.
also have to qualify for what you're judging on, because it's like, for me, the way I look at it is, I'll forgive bad mic work just as much as I'll forgive the idea that in a real fight she'd fuck up any lady in that ring, but they're still going to talk shit to her. There's suspension of disbelief, in my opinion, for me at least.
I just feel like she needed a manager
She needed a Paul Heyman to
and
talk
work
for
her
her.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, if she had Heyman talking for her, but that would have made her heel. That's a problem.
But Heyman. I'm getting tired of Heyman as a whole because he keeps
like one of the best.
dipping into the same bag of fucking tricks, man. I am the mouthpiece for the like how he.
But
keeps
isn't that the whole point of that
He does a
gimmick,
good
though?
job, though. Yeah.
That's the whole
It's
point of the
redundant.
gimmick.
It's fucking redundant. I'm tired of the whole
I know, but
overall.
what I'm saying is, I think the redundancy is part of the gimmick.
No, he needs to come up with new shit. He needs to say something different.
No, but I mean, think about it though. The idea of it being clockwork, where it's the same thing he delivers. I think that's all part of the actual gimmick. I mean, whether he needs to change it or not that's an opinion you can have.
It's getting stale, and I'm getting bored of it, and I stopped watching it.
Well,
So-
with Roman, I think it's a little bit different.
Well, no, because as with Roman, when he was part of the Shield and a heel, I liked it. But when he was part of his own self,
No, I mean, Paul Heyman right now being the mouthpiece for Roman, I feel like it's different than when
it did change a little bit. It did change a little bit.
Well, it is different because Roman Reigns doesn't necessarily 100% need him as the mouthpiece.
Well,
the
he's
fact
more
that-
interactive. He's more interactive than Brock Lesnar.
The fact that Roman Reigns can talk on mic alongside of Heyman changes the dynamic a little bit. Yeah.
But he
I
does
feel
have
like
issues.
him going to go do those movies, Roman going to do those movies has helped him a lot as far as mic work.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: is I personally got so tired of the Shield gimmick with Roman Reigns that to see him come out in just like jeans and fight more brawler style is the gimmick he should have been playing the whole time. Like the whole like this is my yard thing is, I'm sorry, it's fucking stupid. Like
Yeah,
that's
was.
1990s fucking like this is I'm the big dog.
Well, he got tore apart by fucking John Cena on fucking TV.
You know that's like the old days where it's like
shit.
I'm the boss man and this is my it's like yeah, right, enough. That's stupid. So I like the fact that he's basically just like, I'll fuck you up if you get in my way. I really don't care at this point. Like that's a good gimmick for him because he's heel, but in the same token you can humanize him because it's like he can literally say, I did everything for you people and you booed me. Like I don't need you.
I feel he's now more cerebral, which I like.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely he's
I like
got
that a
that.
lot.
He's getting better on mic, is what it
The
is.
way he works with his cousin, even with Paul Heyman. Oh, you got to do something about that.
Yeah,
Oh,
And
you
that's-
should be headlining stuff.
yeah.
Like I like that a lot.
I did like the in the past week's Raws where Heyman Reigns wanted to fight that one guy, the bald guy. I can't remember his name.
Pierce.
Pierce.
Adam
The non-general manager,
Yeah,
general manager.
and they scheduled
Yeah.
Heyman versus Pierce, and then Heyman pulled the card subject to change. That's classic WWE shit. And
But you know why he did that, though, right?
You know that's Heyman behind it too.
No, but did you see the week before?
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, but you see the week before that.
Let's focus back on
Pierce
the Royal Rumble.
pulled that shit on them. Yeah, let's finish the
yeah.
women's Royal Rumble.
That'll lead into the
I was
match.
trying to flip us back. Yeah, we're gonna get there in a more.
All right,
So Billie Kay was sitting sideline, kept coming out as ladies came out. So Shotzi, she tried as her first person. She shot the cannon at her, so it spooked her. She left.
She shot me.
All the girls pretty much said no until Jillian Hall came out. So then they both get into the ring. They started doing some tag work.
Then she betrayed her.
Billy or Billy Jilly. It was one of those.
Jilly Billy, yeah.
Billy Jilly, something like that.
Yeah.
All the way until 11. 10 was Victoria, surprise entrance. Cool seeing her back. But
no, she looked
it
terrible.
was. I mean, cool
Was that
seeing
Victoria?
her. Yeah.
I didn't
To
like
be
her
a
back in the
I haven't
day.
seen her wrestling
It was kind
forever.
of cool to have her come back.
The problem is I wasn't because I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of her back in the day.
Well, you know, she had a fucking restaurant here in Chicago with her husband.
She did. Funny story. So I went to C2E2 one year.
Squared Circle.
Square Circle, exactly.
I
I
ate
went to
two times.
C2E2 one year. She was just walking around passing out like flyers for a restaurant, and I grabbed one. I was like, "Thank you," and then I looked at her, and then I kept walking around, just like, why was she so familiar? And then I was with one of my exes at the time, and she was just like,
I'm just kidding.
one of the door.
Name her.
So I was just like, man,
Name and address, please.
something. She's not just a regular person. Like, I should know her from somewhere.
She looks better than us. She's better than me, clearly. Who are you?
So then eventually it clicked. So then, because I kept like turning back to like look, I was just like, I know who this person is. I just can't think who it is. And eventually, I just looked at the restaurant and saw that it was her, and I was just like,
So I've eaten there
hi?
twice before they ended.
yeah.
Wait, what'd you say? Did you get high? What'd you say? Did you say hi?
Did you say
No,
hi to
no.
her? Or?
Oh,
At that point, it was just weird because
Well, she was already like 2 miles away.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
me.
I'd have
She
been
was
like,
gone.
I'd have been like, it's a pleasure to meet you. Do you have more bread? I'm out of bread.
It was a cool place. They did those fucking calzone pizzas and shit. You know, they had different flavors. They had the JR special with all his fucking sauces and stuff. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. But they went out of business because spousal abuse, or not spousal abuse. Excuse me, spousal whatever. They
he was
divorced.
cheating.
Yeah, he was cheating.
He was cheating.
Why would you do
So they
that?
sold the business.
That's
I
terrible.
don't know. Yeah.
Real quick, little segue onto the C2E2 thing with our other co-host from movie podcast, Lewis.
Nope, don't say his name here.
I'm gonna do it anyways. So Lewis and I were at C2E2, and he was walking, and he hears somebody go, excuse me," and he turns around and looks. Fucking Mankind is sitting over him, going, "Can you get out of my way, sir? I gotta walk through here."
Oh, that
So
would've been
Anthony was
dope.
like, Lewis was like, okay. He moved over. All of a sudden, Kevin Nash comes by, Mr. Kennedy, fucking Howard, Eugene Okerlund comes by. Fucking Anthony got to see all those guys, so fucking walk past him, and he's like, I know him, and he's still looking at the first guy like, I know him, but the other guys, he didn't know who they were.
Yeah, well, I was leaving Export one day, and CM Punk was coming in.
CM Punk.
And I was
You want
like,
to talk about CM
I
Punk?
was like, hey man, how are you? Nice to meet you. And he was like, okay. And I was like, all right, he's a dick, no problem.
Yeah, he doesn't like any kind of interaction. And
I knew that. And I was even like, I thought I was being very nice. Where I was like, hey man, I just want to say nice to meet you. Like I was just walking by him, and he was still like a dick. And it was like, Pepsi sucks, bitch.
I saw him at the airport, and then I saw him at Logan as well. And he was with Cole Cabana working out, and people kept going up.
Former business partner, now hated lawsuit bringer, Colt Cabana,
Yeah.
winner, Colt Cabana.
People kept going up to them, fucking trying to get in, autographs, and they're like, "Hey, we're trying to work out." I get it, but yeah.
I like CM Punk when he was in WWE. I was rooting for him in the UFC, but after the first fight, my opinion was you should never fight again unless you're fighting for your life outside of a bar. And
He did
then,
too, right?
Yeah, then he did another match, and it was clear that you should have never entered this ring. That you're a pretend tough guy. Go write a comic book.
Yeah. He did Hulk comics, right?
There's real tough guys and there's pretend tough guys, and unfortunately,
I think he's had his hand in a couple of different comics.
He's a real pretend tough guy.
Real pretend tough guy. He wrote. He had an entire series for. It's a big franchise. He wrote an entire series. I can't remember what it was for though.
It was for DC though, wasn't it? Or not for DC, for Marvel, was it?
Yeah, I can't remember what the character was, but he had a whole thing he wrote for it, which I haven't read. It might be good. I don't know. It's got to be better than his MMA career. So, Women's Rumble.
Back to the Women's Rumble. We keep fucking delving off that shit, man.
I think we need to get to the end.
I would like. I would like
this one. Yeah, you go to 11 was Peyton Royce, which would have been Billy Kay's former partner. Again, no real reason why they broke them up because you have tag team champs.
They were good.
Really no tag teams. Yeah, like you had a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
They've been tag team for a really long time.
Yeah, but you got to remember the Rumble is the pay-per-view where everybody motherfucks everybody. Like they're just
no. But what the thing is, like Billy Kay and Peyton Royce,
I thought you were gonna do
it. Iconics. They were the second. They were the second champions, right? They were the second tag team champions.
Yes, I believe so.
And they were a good tag team together. And all of a sudden, they just said, "Okay, we're gonna break you guys up." And as soon as they broke them up,
probably the day of when they were going to break up.
They put them in separate
team anymore.
They put them in
exactly. They're still trying to find them back into tag teams.
It's like, why break up a fucking tag team that you're going to put into another tag team? It made no sense, but it was fun to see them get back together for the brief. It did the whole Ruby Riot, the Riot thing, the Riot Squad thing.
Other... came out. Tori Wilson.
I was muted. I was muted, but I just said Tori Wilson was an interesting.
Mickie James to come back after her injury was pretty cool.
Yeah, so those were the last.
And Mickie James still can perform. She can still perform. She still has. Yeah. She still has it. She's not in great shape too. Which one?
Mickie James still in great shape too.
Yeah, she is. She is.
So, I was hoping Lita was Wilson.
What's that?
Yeah, Tori Wilson, she's got her own like fitness thing. She's maintained.
Yeah. She's in great shape.
I was hoping like Trish or Lita were to make an appearance. I was looking forward to seeing one.
Did they do last year's?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they were also part of the Women's Evolution thing.
Yeah.
What happened to that, by the way?
Yeah, they need to do it again, but they need to give them more time to fucking work together because they did kind of look stale when they wrestled.
Well, if you're not
as a tag match,
if you're not in wrestling shape, you're gonna be shit. Once you fall,
I did like that fucking Lana finally got her revenge against Nia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She eliminated Nia after being thrown into a table like what is it 9-10 weeks in a row?
Yep.
Twice on Sundays. Lana eliminated Nia Jax in the Rumble.
No, not according to this.
Yeah, she did. Did you watch the Rumble?
I did. Oh yeah. Sorry, I was looking at it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that she finally got her redemption on that, and they're actually building up on that on Raw, which I don't know. We're going to talk about it later, I guess. But Lana's going to get, like, I guess, semi-revenge on Nia Jax, which is kind of fucked up because they've been putting her through a table for like 8-9 weeks, and then they wrote her off. She was supposed to be in the tag team contention. It was supposed to be Asuka and Lana. They were supposed to win against them.
When Charlotte says that she's back, you've got to put her in some kind of. They have to put around her.
Put you in here. That's your favorite, Matt.
That's just what they do.
I like Flair. I'm not going to apologize for it. Fuck you.
I like Flair in small doses.
But
the weird thing that happened though was
the final four though, Fabian. We got to move on, man. We've been on this.
Flair, Ripley, Flair, Natalya.
So I
24/7 title gets changed in there. Weird.
Alicia Fox, pins.
She wins it, loses it immediately, gets knocked out,
which I found funny. I found
that it was kind of annoying though, but it was funny.
I did find it funny that I did find it almost disrespectful that they were just like, oh, fuck the women's Royal Rumble, throw this in the middle
We'll
of
put
it.
the truth in here.
Mhm.
Why did they do it during the Royal Rumble itself, the men's Royal Rumble?
Well, you got to remember,
It is
it
men.
led into Alicia Fox technically having a title hold for 2 minutes.
Yeah, she's had it before, and her and Truth have a connection.
Yeah, so that's why they did it, to probably prop her up more since she's, but when she gets eliminated.
Obviously, could have been done in between matches like they usually have it.
Yeah, I don't know. I found that kind of stupid where it's just like, you don't have enough confidence in your women's division Royal Rumble. You're going to throw this out there? Like, that's your problem. Figure it out. Maybe,
that was Vince on the phone in Gorilla going, "Do it now!"
Maybe if you had more than
I'm gonna fire everybody.
maybe if you had more than 7 gimmicks, you wouldn't have to do shit.
You're
like
fired.
that.
You're fired.
Most eliminations though went to Ripley. Rhea Ripley. She had 7 eliminations here.
Yeah.
And then obviously Bianca Belair won it, which is cool. I like her. Kind of over the super long hair gimmick thing that she has.
Which one,
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley or
Belair.
Is that her real
Belair?
hair or is that fake hair?
I
Honestly,
don't know.
I've never seen her without it, but very talented, super strong.
In NXT, she used to use it as a whip too. She used to fucking whip them, but
exactly.
she doesn't do that too much now.
The physics for her hair are entirely broken in WWE 2K20. Yeah, if you ever want to see funny videos, look up her hair in that game. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap up the Women's Rumble. Let's do kind of like the final thoughts, and then we'll move on to the next match. Seamless transition.
All right, so there was a couple things near the ending of the Rumble that was kind of weird for me. For the Women's Rumble, I should say, not the Royal Rumble. But some of the things that popped out that was kind of crazy is, like, I think I talked a little bit about it, and maybe I didn't. There was like a springboard botch that Dana Brooke did. That she went to go do a springboard elbow into somebody in the corner, but they turned around and they pushed her, and then she did it to another person, and then came back to that person again and did it again. There was too many of that for them doing a live show, and they have access to pre-recording some things. Why couldn't they just fucking yell cut or do it again or some shit? When it came down to the final 4, who was it again? It was I have it written down somewhere. It was Natalya, Belair, Flair, and Ripley. They're doing fucking Natalya wrong. She deserves better, and it's been like that for years. And she should have had a little more than just being like a fucking who was it? Fucking Santino Marella. That's what she's starting to be like. She's the comedy piece of it.
I would argue less Santino and more of the fact they want her character to be more and more about the Hart lineage.
Yeah.
And less about like her actual as a performer, which I think is to the negative of her. She's always going to be locked in that image, and I don't think she'll ever be able to truly go her own creative way.
No, I mean, well, they call her the BOAT, the best of all time.
You're not painting a very good picture for me wanting her to be pushed. I'll tell you that much.
No, that's what they're doing to her. She's very talented, and they keep squandering all these fucking wrestlers.
You know what they're gonna do with her is she's gonna end up saying, "Fuck it, I'm done with on screen," and next thing you know, she'll be a behind screen coach for women's talent, or a recruiter or something like that.
I believe she's already training.
Yeah, so you would have to imagine that at some point within the next couple of years, she'll be transitioning from less and less ring time and more full time behind the scenes.
Yeah. So just to round it out, though, you got those 4. Did anybody find it as they started eliminating people? Natalya was next. Flair got eliminated because of Lacey Evans or whatever.
My baby's got eliminated.
When it came down to the last 2, Ripley and Belair, did anybody find that whole little thing that ended it kind of cheesy?
Yeah. You mean the fact that Belair's foot touched the fucking ground?
It's only 1 foot, though. It
looked like both. It looked like both. I'm just saying. This could have been a caliber Batista Cena botch, but it wasn't because Rhea Ripley was the better worker here. Belair was too worried about her legs flapping around to act like she was in trouble. where Rhea Ripley, even at one point, if you pay attention, looked at her like, "You good? Because you're supposed to win this fucking thing." Just saying, like, you're getting close. Like they did look at each, and then that whole thing was stupid because of how they both popped back into the ring, and then you hear like the up close micro, "Relax, relax," and it's like, aren't you like the hardcore, angry, violent one, and you're telling her to relax? Like, what gimmick are you playing? You got 7 to choose from. Which one you bouncing to now?
I could have done without that whole little scene about them using their legs to bring them, back up in there. I don't know who was probably head of that creative part of it.
Vince Russo.
That a bunch of times I feel like in the Rumble, where it's just like, okay, enough with the hanging on there, just get back in.
Yeah, it was a novelty, and it's no longer a novelty. Now it's like
Everybody has to do it.
Yeah, you watch the Rumble, and you're like, oh, that's okay. The first time it was okay. This is time 3.
When there's no fans to give reaction, it's horrible. And I think that's what the main thing is. You don't have the fans out there actually reacting to it and hearing the crowd.
Maybe I think Fabian's right. They just overuse it now. Like I said, how many times did they have 2 of them on the outside of the apron fighting, and both of them then make it back into the ring? I mean, there was a period of like 10 minutes where nobody got eliminated.
Yeah.
And like so that you don't have even match progression either. Because they have to build those moments of, well, it's going to take 4 of them to eliminate Nia. And then not only that, but she's going to have Baszler helping her out as her protector / teammate in there. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they just crammed it too much to the point where they kind of had to have people on the outside of the apron. And, there was a lot more rope work because there just wasn't any fucking room in the ring.
Mm-mm.
It did happen in the men's.
Ripley's call-up from NXT.
This is
what they consider her call-up, yep.
Really?
Yeah.
So, was she on Raw, or is she going to be on SmackDown Friday?
They haven't announced which one yet, but she hasn't shown up on Raw, from what I hear.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would make sense because Damian Priest did Raw. So, if they're going to try to balance it out, it would make sense for her to go to SmackDown. I mean, I don't know. I think Rhea Ripley has a better shot than Damian Priest in succeeding in the main rosters. I think Damian Priest
is a good worker.
I like him.
He is.
I like him, but they're not going to know what the fuck to do with that gimmick, that character. Right now he's niche. McMahon's going to lose interest if he, and part of it's going to have to be on Damian Priest as well. He's going to have to really push himself to evolve his character for, because you can no longer rely on the pine. Well, it's NXT. They're still kids. Well, not anymore. Now you really have to work it.
They're going to bring him in as a Gangrel character.
No, they brought him in as... Who did he fight on Raw? And he lost.
Miz.
Yeah.
He didn't lose. Lost, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Miz won. Or Miz lost, yeah.
Yeah.
Rumor is that it'll be Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus those 2 guys.
Is there any matches anymore that don't have interference? Like, is there any cleanly won matches? I don't know if the last one I saw was on...
Oh, this is how they protect the guys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't remember the last time I saw a match that, like, somebody just cleanly lost.
Let's finish up the women's. Belair ends up winning it with against Rhea. Their little thing on the outside, back and forth.
Just relax.
It was good to see her get her time to win. She does work good, but I think a lot of it is there's no fans, and I can't deal with the canned crowd, so I feel like it's being wasted.
Bro, I don't know about you, but every time they took it to the outside, I felt like there was a real crowd. As they were thrown into the LED mega boards, I felt that there was a real crowd. I never once missed real live people. It was very reminiscent of a PS2 era wrestling game with just flat textures.
Fans for Wrestlemania.
So they were saying.
They're working on how many they're going to get. Yeah.
They're just you know what they're going to do is they're just going to build cages that the fans sit in, and every 25 minutes, sanitizing air spray comes down upon them. Before every match, the entire arena just gets, like, they have like crop dusters fly over the open arena and just flood it with sanitizer on everybody.
Like the produce section at Jewel.
Yes, but it is going to be horribly chemical sanitizer that will disinfect everybody's eyes. Children's faces will get bleached, but
It was manufactured from the distilleries.
Well, they found the secret chemical from an old German bunker. They figured out how to turn it into a sanitizer. Don't worry, it only turns all your children blonde because it removes color pigment, but you'll be clean. It's like ammonia. Dumping. This is ammonia aerosol. Don't breathe, children. They're sanitizing again. Fucking Wrestlemania becomes a horror show. I'd pay to see that though. Like I'd go for and get the pay-per-view. That'd be entertaining. That'd be some crowd engagement right there. Everybody leave your seats. We're gonna sanitize. Go get some nachos. on the house. Free nacho every time they sanitize. Or free beverage. Free refill. You'll want to get out of your seat to get a free refill and not get the poison sprayed on you. Alright, so let's give it the old star review. What do you guys got for the Women's Rumble?
Me personally, I give it a 3. I feel like it could have done without the 24/7 title being part of it.
I agree with you. I think that being part of it did take away from the Rumble itself.
Yeah. What's our rating? It's 1
Stars out of 5.
How many?
5, yeah.
Out of 5. Okay. For me personally,
Are you gonna pull off Dave Meltzer here and give us a 6 or 7?
no, there was a lot of good working. There was some bad working. It's got its ups and downs on it. The ending, it didn't go over right with me how it ended. I was happy that she did get to win Belair, but I'm gonna do 2 because I feel like they still don't take it as serious as these girls are. That they're good performers, and they don't take it serious. Like you said, the 24/7 title coming out there, Truth being thrown in there, and some of the old wrestlers that they did bring back was nice to see, but they're not in great shape. You could see that Tori looked like she hurt herself. Tori Wilson. She kept saying like "ouch," or she kept making a face every time she would do a move. So it was it's going to be 2 for me, 2 stars.
I don't know. I'll give it 2 stars as well. My biggest gripe with it is, as I pointed out earlier, when you have a women's rumble, it really highlights the problems of the women's division, which in my opinion are, you essentially have 7 categories of gimmick out of, how many women are there in the division. And it goes through NXT as well. So it's like, when you have them all in the same ring, it really demonstrates the fact that your creative team isn't being productive enough to figure out how to differentiate them. And that's an issue, especially when they're all in the ring fighting at the same time, and you've got 2 MMA tough girls fighting each other, but then you realize that, and it's the same problem that I'll talk about in the men's rumble as well, with Matt Riddle and Damian Priest. But having these like character and like gimmick performers go up against each other in a rumble, at some point they have to get away from each other, because if there's 2 MMA, there's only so many times in real life you could take blows to the body and the face from each other and still be able to, that hurt, and walk away from it. And Al Snow famously said once, during, I believe it was the Tough Enough era, where he did a demonstration of why we don't use closed fists. Because closed fists, you know what damage a closed fist will do? That's why we do open fists, because we're not doing closed fists, because that'll hurt. How can we suspend disbelief that they can get up over and over if I'm using a closed fist? And I think that's still relevant today, because how am I supposed to suspend disbelief that these people can go for 20, 30 minutes in a ring? Meanwhile, they're, like Matt Riddle and Damian Priest does later on, Matt Riddle's punching him and Priest is kicking him over and over. And then at some point when you're watching, you see them purposely separate because they understand, holy shit, this isn't realistic. This matchup is too much. Like, if this was anything close to realism, we'd both be on the ground already. And I think WWE needs to figure out how to intersect the different gimmicks and pair them better. If they're that limited, figure it out. And build your tag team division again. The tag division, women's tag division is pathetic. Every tag they have, I think you said it
They
earlier,
don't
they
have a
destroy.
division.
Well, they do have the
teams that
Dusty
you had are
Alliance
gone.
going on right now.
Yeah, but the tag teams.
Yeah,
used
which
to
is all
be-
NXT though.
Yeah.
But think about the successful tag teams and how organic they were, or how much background lore they had. The Dudleys, the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, and then you even have the and I'm not even talking about the old school tag teams when tag teams really meant something, but even the goofy ones like Kane and Hurricane still had an entertainment factor to them. And now it really just seems like there's people in the background saying, you and you seem like close enough characters. Go have a tag match. We'll see where it goes. And that's a huge problem. I mean, when you have the women's tag match in the pre-show, that shows you don't give two shits about it.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and that's the wrap-up for the Women's Rumble. We're going to move right on through with the next match, and I'm going to let Alex take it ahead.
All right, so the next match was the SmackDown title of Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens.
Could have been one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah.
So all the build-up they had, weeks and weeks of is he going to fight, is he not? Card subject to change shit with Paul Heyman and Adam Pearce. Roman Reigns' new gimmick. And it wasn't him fighting his cousin, and it wasn't a title. It wasn't the champion versus champion match. Like when McIntyre and him fought. This was a long drawn out feud between Owens and him, and overall, like you said, it could have been a great match. They started out by doing all their false finishers, pop up power bomb, Superman punch, and all that shit. It's supposed to be. This was a last man standing match, so I made the comment earlier about they got up at 4 when it was supposed to be a 3 count. In one of our previous matches, I was thinking about this match that I wanted to talk about. There was a lot of like, oh, he's to the count of 4, he's up. Oh, he's at the count of 9, he's up. There was just. I personally, I don't like Roman Reigns.
Racist.
No, it's nothing like that. It's just I'm so tired of him, and they should have made him like this full heel that he is right now a long time ago.
I agree with
It
that.
should have been like that. They shouldn't have tried to make him the good guy. They were pushing for him to be the face.
Should have never been a babyface.
No, and then now when I watch him, I don't care. I'm ready for it to be over, and I'm always rooting for whoever he's fighting against to beat him so he could be fucking gone and done.
The crazy part of all that is that AEW has done their face of the company. Kenny Omega probably, and he's a heel. So I don't know why WWE doesn't understand that you don't have to be a good guy to be the face of the company.
I'd argue AEW isn't one on one guy's shoulders. I mean, you have a combination of, frankly, Jericho, Moxley, and Omega. I think those are the 3 big guys to get in AEW. I think the company kind of rests on their shoulders, at least initially. As to where, WWE sets it up where it's like, they have a character who's supposed to be egotistical, beating the shit out of people, saying this is my yard, but then trying to make him the good guy. How does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And Roman, I think, plays a heel better. I like the dynamic between him and Heyman. Because, Paul Heyman and Lesnar's dynamic was, he's a rabid beast, don't get too close, he'll bite my fingers off. Roman's dynamic with Heyman is, listen, I'm not your puppet, I'm going to talk, I'm going to dictate, you're afraid of me because I'm cold. Like, that's the way they're playing it, and I like that shift to where it's, Heyman was afraid of Lesnar because Lesnar's raw power. Heyman's afraid of Roman Reigns in this gimmick because he understands Reigns will literally physically destroy him if he steps out of line himself. Which I think is a nice change to where you do kind of remove, that entire power dynamic that Heyman has, where you could make the argument that Lesnar was Heyman's puppet on the string. That, yeah, he was a beast, but he was Heyman's beast. You can't really do that with the Reigns-Heyman dynamic, and I like that.
Yeah, so the match, yeah, it was a brutal match. It was a last man standing.
Well, brutal by today's standards.
Yeah, well, if you look at all the shit that they do to each other.
You mean all the stuff that Kevin Owens does successfully and Roman Reigns gets to act like he did something? Yeah, I saw all that. Like Kevin Owens is the one that gets thrown through tables, like slammed into LED panels, jumping off of forklifts.
Speaking of, when it got near the end segment, did anybody notice that when Kevin Owens kind of made notice, like, this is we're going to come back to this in a couple minutes? Like he pretended like he touched it and it burned him, the light.
Well, they even mentioned it. Like, I think that lantern burned Roman Reigns there. One of the commentary even said something about Roman Reigns touching the lamp, almost like he was like careful, careful, it's fucking hot.
If they did say that it's weird because it was actually Owens that touched it and said, "Oh, that's hot."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember them saying actually they thought Reigns was the one who had touched the lamp, so he must have hit it and been like, "Yo, that's hot, careful." Like,
yeah.
Which you got to imagine. I mean, those lights are on for how long, and those are halogens, so that glass probably was legitimately pretty hot. So one thing I have to say, and I know Fabian's in with me on this one, the golf cart was, you can't when that happens, it is neat, but you cannot not think about AEW doing it first.
Yeah.
And you could argue WWE did that long before AEW was just a trickle in his daddy's pants. I get that. I'll agree. But in recent memory, people aren't going to go, well, back in 1994 on Raw, Stone Cold came out with the golf cart. They're going to go, AEW did that last year. We just saw that.
I was just going to say that a lot of people were saying that WWE did it first with the car. KO's character is Stone Cold Steve Austin. So it does its finisher, and now they're doing some of the storylines. And going back to KO getting his butt beat most of the time, that's his character again. He said he can't just stop. He's doing this for his grandpa or whoever he said it originally for.
Yeah, his father-in-law and father.
And here's the thing: is I don't think anybody really has any. I don't think there's any room for any production to talk shit about other productions retreading storylines. I mean, we talked about it earlier. Even AEW is doing wedding storylines now. Name me storylines that AEW is doing that aren't borrowed. I mean, Sting in the rafters. You know what I mean? Realistically, they're all WWE's.
He's just in the stands now.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. He was in the stands. Yeah. Oh, we'll also forget about the other guy.
Comes out of doors. Okay.
We'll forget about the other guy that stole that gimmick, and then when Sting came back, he even came out and was like, "Hey, what's up, gimmick stealer?" So we'll just ignore that. That's the thing is really WWE is retreading storylines because they were the ones who created these fucking storylines. And if it wasn't them, it was WCW. Or if it wasn't them, it was ECW. Everybody's taking everybody's ideas at this point. I think of weddings and wrestling. I think Stephanie McMahon and Test when Triple H came out and played the video of him marrying her in the drive-through chapel.
While she was drugged.
While she was passed out. Didn't Kane have a wedding at some point?
Yeah.
With Lita. And the
Hardy Boys came in and they busted it up and saved her. And you had the same thing.
She was pregnant, wasn't she?
I don't think so.
With Kane's baby, and then they had the whole
she lost the baby scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
You also have the Undertaker, I believe, kidnapping and trying to marry Stephanie McMahon, to which Shane O'Mac and Ken Shamrock come out and save her at one point.
No, that was
who was
that? Was he was no, but that was the whole satanic thing about
he was going to sacrifice her. Yeah. But so all of this shit is retread. Let's be real. Anything AEW is doing isn't any more original than what WWE is doing right now because WWE created it all. Let's be real for the most part. I mean, there is shit they stole from OVW and all that, but that's all. Pat Patterson created the Rumble.
What are your guys' thoughts about how WWE keeps using real life and shit? Kevin Owens, his father-in-law and his father are both passed away. They didn't get to see him become successful in wrestling. And then Roman Reigns has that line where he says, hey, your papa's up there looking at you from above. He's like, you're not even making him proud. He throws that line out there.
I mean, knowing what I know about wrestling, you imagine there was a conversation beforehand where it was like, just go. No.
No, I'm sure that they did that. But I'm saying, what do you think? Do you think that's a good thing on them? Does it make him a bigger heel? Does it prove anything?
I think it works on him being more heelish, and then you feel more for Kevin Owens. Oh, like, yo, come on, I really want you to win. So it makes you buy into it a lot more, I feel.
Yeah.
I think during the performance, from a shit talking perspective, it works. What I don't like is when they go on like Twitter and shit and do that, because it's now known that wrestling is predetermined and it's a work universally. So when you have people using real life social media to act within kayfabe, even though kayfabe no longer really exists, there's a lot of like, and I understand it's to build heat, but in the same token, you're going across a social media platform where that will be forever in the ether. So if you go too deep, this person can always be linked to this tweet about you talking about, you motherfucking their dead mother. So I think there's a very kind of weird line they have to toe, because you cut too deep, you're going to draw blood, no matter, people are human. But I would guarantee they had a conversation where it was like, yo, I have this idea while we're doing this, since this is part of your story, and I guarantee you Kevin Owens was like, I don't give a fuck, say whatever you want to me, like, just throw it at me. He seems like that type of dude where it's like, yep, nope, go ahead, I'm with you. And that brings me to my point of, I love Kevin Owens. I've liked him for a long time. I'm happy to see he's getting a little bit fitter. He's slimmed down a bit. He's got a little bit more muscle on him. I think he started to get tattoos and realized that if he lost some weight, his tattoos would look better. So now he's losing weight for that cause. But more power to him. He's looking every day. Every time I see him, he's looking better and better. This type of match sadly highlights how much better of a worker he is than Roman Reigns. You have Owens virtually doing everything. You've got him taking the table slams, the jumping off the forklift, the golf cart. Roman Reigns didn't do a whole lot besides trounce around and fake punch him.
The Superman punch.
Yeah,
I've always said, not the biggest fan of the way he works.
I mean,
a lot of his moves seem like very, like he's limited athletically. Even that Superman punch looks weird a lot of times.
Well, he's got a very weird, like, the way he animates himself is like he's a superhero and not like an MMA fighter. And
I wish they would get rid of that altogether.
Reigns has power, though. You mean to tell me you can't have Reigns pick him up and powerbomb him through a table into a digital LED panel? Break a couple fucking panels. Let the people who paid that price of that admission on their webcam see Kevin Owens' big fucking back get slammed into it. Like, there's things because of Reigns' power you can do to make him nasty. Like, rather than just kind of walking around and going up over the steps behind the crowd and, take him and then one of the biggest mistakes they made is showing the backstage ring and doing nothing with it. This was a last man standing match, right? So why didn't you have basically them pulling out weapons and at some point have Reigns just run out of shit to use and then make his way to the other ring and do a set in that ring? And then bring it back to the actual legal ring. Instead of going over here where there's lights that can burn you and a couple fucking tables. Like, I don't know. There was things they could have done to illustrate Roman Reigns as being a true villain, and they always still kind of teeter off where it's like, well, he's bad, but he's not that bad. And it's like...
One thing that's bothering me with a lot of the matches is when they have these high-profile matches for the championships, it's so predictable when you see them setting up things. You're like, okay, I know what's going to happen here. He's going to start teetering back, like he's going to fall off, and then it's not going to be Roman Reigns. It's going to turn around, and Kevin Owens is going to be the one that takes the dump into the fucking tables. And it's always predictable. I wish they would just fucking say, like, oh, he's gonna, and then it actually happens. I want them to fucking commit to it.
Like, and here's a thought: you have Paul Heyman there, right? And he is kind of in the subservient role of Reigns right now. When Reigns is handcuffed, right? And Heyman's having trouble, the botch, we'll call it. Why not set it up where Reigns screams at Heyman to have him get on all fours while Roman tries to unlock it and Reigns puts his feet up on Heyman? So he's not touching the ground, he's not down. Like, there's things you could have done to solidify the fact that, like, nobody wants to fuck with this guy. He tells his man to get on all fours to make sure he doesn't get counted out, and his dude gets on all fours to make sure he doesn't get counted out. And then you have it where, like...
or distract the ref, which that's what he...
Yeah, exactly.
He should have did that.
You know, where it's you know, Heyman, for one thing, is the one that fucked up there. I'm assuming he was eating a delicious sandwich right before he had to come out, and the oils and greases from the Italian dressing or whatever he had on it, submarine oil, made it very slick, and he could not get the lock open, is my assumption.
I wish that was what it was, but the reason they said is because the handcuffs were put incorrectly, so the lock was actually on the wrong side.
Oh, I thought it was actually...
It was on the wrong side, yeah.
So we were supposed to use fake handcuffs, and some wise guy put real ones. Kevin Owens on Twitter, he's just like, it was me.
They put him on the wrong side, so Heyman had issues trying to get his hand on.
And how does...
Even with that, you can fucking fix it. I mean...
How does Reigns not have the wherewithal to get up on his feet, though? Like,
exactly. Stand up, dude.
Like, you're in great shape. You're not a fat slob. Do a crouch. Do a prone. Get on your feet. I mean, come on. Like, that
it only
was
took about like 10 minutes for him to finally decide, I should probably just start standing up instead.
And then the ref...
Because then the ref is counting, yeah.
They stopped showing the ref because he's literally at 9, like... And they're like, oh, fuck, get off of him. Like, Vince McMahon is on the phone. I buried my brother, goddammit, don't botch this. You know, he's just all full of rage right now.
I saw a meme where they had the Impractical Jokers up there, and then they show the referee counting, and they says, now stop counting. And then the referee's like looking to the side, like, what am I supposed to do?
I mean, even if the ref played it off with, like, the ref also, like, that was a 3-part botch. You got Heyman not being able to unlock it. You got Roman Reigns not thinking to himself, get on your fucking feet. And you have the ref. The ref should have jumped in and been distracted by Heyman by trying to pull him off. Where it's like, you're not supposed to be in here, you know, even though it's last man standing. He still could have been like, get out of here. And it would have negated the entire count. Because you can at least suspend the realism to say, okay, the ref was distracted. But the ref failed too. Neither one of those three thought on their feet. And that's the problem, is it's a 3-part botch. So it's a big fucking botch.
That's why I say that referee was brand new. He was just, he was fresh.
Well, but then, you know, you also, poor Owens is literally to the side off camera, just...
Uh-huh.
He's like, I'm not supposed to get involved because I'm supposed to win this. You know, do something.
You know, but, I mean, once again...
Roman Reigns hit me so hard, I've got to stay here for another 10 minutes.
Here's the thing, Kevin Owens could have just been like, he could have charged to go to attack, you know, Reigns some more, or Heyman, and had Heyman trip him and fall into the ref. Like, there are things that they could have done to get out of that situation that nobody in the situation thought of on the fly. And that's kind of a problem. I don't blame Owens nearly as much as the other three, but he's still got a part in it. Rather than sitting over there playing his role, he should have adapted and went directly into the, how do I stop this count? And either if he started kicking the shit out of Reigns while Heyman's trying to uncuff him, or if he would have done a run-in with the ref, you could have stopped it real easy. But once again, the ref should have been distracted by Heyman. Reigns should have got on his feet. Heyman needs to learn to not eat subs before the match. Other than that, I thought it was great in what Owens was doing for it. I mean, I love the fact that you got a big guy out there falling off of high fucking structures going through tables and shit. It's awesome. Was a tiny little disappointed that he didn't pin Reigns down with the forklift. I thought he was going to do it. I thought he did. I was like, he's not going to do that. And he didn't.
It would have been great, fucking him sitting there like that. They could even did their little cinematic bullshit with the fucking camera coming down, and you see it coming down on him.
Well, not only that, but you could set it up where the table is meant to break away. So as it comes down, he's trapped, but then the table breaks out from underneath him, and that's how he escapes the count. Like, that's the thing, is where is the creative? Like, we want to reach into the past and try to be like, oh, we're going backstage, but not really fully commit. And that's an issue. All right, any more you want to say about this match? Anybody?
No. Owens. I'm ready for him to fucking win. That's about it.
I want Owens to have a legitimate title reign. I want, because and the thing about that is you got to do his champion run as kind of like that underdog no matter what. Like if they were smart, they give him the belt and they set him up against the biggest, baddest dudes and let him knock them down one by one in like holy shit fashions.
What's going to happen though, I think, is he is going to win it at some point, but he's going to become the heel. And I'm tired of how they do the wrestlers that are really good performers, and in order for them to get a title run, they have to be a heel. I don't like it.
I think the best route for him is you put him through a series of grueling matches with different people, and you have him come out on top at the end. I think that's the best way to get him over, where you let him ride that middle ground where he's a performer who likes to really go into that fourth wall of reality. So you let him explore that, where he's not a heel, but he's not a baby face. He's just kind of, I'm here to do this. And then you don't give him you make him fight the most popular guys and the baddest guys, and make it always a David versus Goliath situation. And to solidify him as champion, you have him steamroll them. You have him come out on top for 4 or 5, 6 pay-per-view defenses. You know what I mean? Like, you keep him going for a while. Because he's got more charisma than a lot of... I love Kevin Owens. I think he's great. I think he's kind of... he's got a weird kind of way he looks at things from interviews and stuff I've heard, but I like him as a performer. All right, I'm going to go first on the review. I'm going to give this match a 3 out of 5. It would have been higher if it wasn't for the huge botch. Because I like the match. I like where they wanted to take it. I'm a big fan of Owens. I'm also a fan of a cinematic match. I want a cinematic match between these two. I want something out of the ring. Like I'm one of those people. I was a big fan of the Boneyard match. And I think you take it to where like you want to go cool. You have them meet up in like one of these backyard, MMA fight rings, where Roman Reigns can then explore like, oh, you want to come to my yard? You really want to see how it works? And you have them do a street fight where you do a cinematic in a warehouse somewhere and you film it.
Roman's going to be busy with somebody else now.
Yeah, they're going to because of course they steamrolled a great worker to put another notch in Reigns' belt.
Mm-hmm. Rumor is Edge will challenge him for WrestleMania.
I've also heard rumor is Edge is challenging McIntyre. Alex heard the rumor that Edge is challenging Finn Balor. Why would Edge want to go to NXT? It's like him going to the fucking McDonald's playhouse. It's nothing but like teenagers there for him.
I could see Edge going there to help boost those guys. Have a bunch of series of matches.
Roman Battle of the Spears. They've had this Battle of the Spears thing that they've been wanting to do for the longest. Plus, I think Edge is going to be like, I technically never lost his belt.
Let's do a 3-way then.
That's what when NXT, that's what
Goldberg in there.
Karrion Kross was telling him too. He was like, it doesn't matter if you come and decide to get this belt. I never lost it. So, like, foreshadowing that's what Edge eventually will say that too.
Yeah, but you also had Edge come out on Raw and tell both Sheamus and McIntyre, like, he's coming for one of them. So it's like they're playing all angles.
That one too. Yeah, they're building that one for Sheamus and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, the separation.
So, what's your rating there, Fabian?
I agree with Matt. 3, could have been a 4, but that botch kind of was unforgiving.
That's what happens when McMahon's not there.
No, don't say that.
I'm just saying. The one
These
Rumble
guys have never used cuffs before.
The one Rumble he's not in, there's a huge botch. Just saying.
I do believe he missed another Rumble back in the day, but it is big news that he wasn't there. All right, so for me, I'm going to go with a 3 as well. Owens is a great performer. Roman, sometimes he could perform, but I'm tired of him. And it's not even me being tired of him because he's a heel. It's just me being tired of him because I'm fucking tired of him. Plain and simple. So I'm going to go with a 3 for this match.
I do think they can refresh him a bit if they were to strip him of the title, like make him lose it, and then put him on a warpath, where his gimmick becomes like screw it. I've been to the top. I've had it taken away from me. You're all my enemies. And he just becomes the heel where it's like for no reason he's running in on people's matches and screwing them over. Like he just becomes like WWE's like troll of everybody for a little while. Like I truly think they got to go full in on the heel with him and like get real heel where he just starts doing not goofy, but just where it doesn't matter who you are, good, bad. Have him interrupt female matches too. Like have him just cause disruption, because that's what
I like
kind of what
this heel change for him.
I
feel like it's refreshed for him. And again, I think it's more cerebral, which I like a lot.
Especially on the mic. Especially on the mic, he's much more calculated than he used to be. All right.
I'm missing, but I gotta find it.
What's that?
No, I said I'm missing something I gotta find, but go for it.
That wraps up.
You lost your marbles.
These bulls. That's going to go ahead and wrap up that match. We're going to move into the final match, which is the Men's Royal Rumble. To start it off, you had the whole, they had called it the week prior. Orton and Edge were going to be 1 and 2, and from the moment I heard Edge was number 1, I had okay, I think they might let him win this one. And I do like the fact that the match starts out with the two of them just going into full brawl mode. I do have issue with the cliched fake injury angle. Because
once he got hurt, I knew Edge wasn't getting eliminated anytime soon.
Yeah, you knew it was going to be like, and my worry was it was going to be the standard WWE of comes in at the end, legitimately fucks over Edge, and then takes it. I was happy they didn't go that route, but they brawl for a little bit until the fake injury. I love Edge. The fact that Edge not only was in this thing for the full time, but he was never not engaging. He was going after everybody who was coming in there. As an old school Edge fan, probably my favorite part was when just him being in there. I was rooting for him the entire time. Along that lines, when Christian does eventually come in, like I said, when he's walking down the ramp, and they zoom in on Edge's face, and he's supposed to be in pain, and then he looks up and sees Christian with his entrance and everything, and he has no choice but you see that smile, kind of like, and like the hug thing is nice, but you knew that's typical, but seeing him with the legitimate, like, seeing his friend doing this again with him after he already doesn't believe that he's doing this still, and then that involuntary like happiness was just, it brought me back to when I was a kid, and it was like, dude, Edge and Christian concerto, like, I'm watching it and I got all sorts of Jones. Like, Christian was in amazing shape. He looked great, and I'm glad he was medically cleared to do it. He didn't look like he was stiff or anything. He was seemingly able to jump right back in. My other highlight of it, and I'll let you guys go in a second, and I know you guys probably have the same highlight, is fucking Carlito Cool coming back as the steroid version of himself. Somebody's been drinking the secret ooze, because he was jacked as shit. If he would have been that big back in the day, he'd have had a bigger push. McMahon would have been like, you're not as goofy with those muscles. Rumor is he's actually going to have a storyline going on Raw.
Nice.
So we'll see how that progresses. But I'll let you guys take it away, some of your favorite moments and stuff throughout the Rumble.
Go ahead, Fabian.
That one being the biggest surprise was him coming back and being able to see that, because it had been how many years? And he was supposedly not going to be medically cleared at all ever again. So seeing Christian come back. Well, that was pretty dope. Other than that, no real, like, Seth Rollins coming back. That was pretty cool.
I was not excited about that at all.
Once he came back, I started thinking storylines, so I thought he was going to win it.
I did too.
I completely forgot about Edge, so I was just like, okay, he's going to win it. He's going to go against Roman Reigns just to further solidify that Reigns is now the head of the table. So
it's going to be a battle of the shields.
Well, see, I don't understand why they have them both heels. Like, what better storyline would it have been if you let Seth Rollins come back as a babyface to take on Reigns' heel. Like, you can do the whole storyline of nobody here can stop you, but they don't know you like I do, and I'm here to stop your reign. Like, you could have easily set that up and won the favor of the fans back to Seth Rollins.
Your story build-ups sometimes resemble like 80s movies.
Well, you've seen my fucking voodoo list. You've seen the movies I watch.
I know.
People would enjoy it. They'd enjoy it a hell of a lot more than some of the melodrama they got going on in wrestling now.
For me, some of the big things that was kind of cool, like you said, Carlito coming back. That was cool to see him. I did like Hurricane's little thing, but he's out of shape. But I did like that he was there.
Horribly. I can't believe the fucking commentary. Hurricane looks like he's been in the gym. No, he hasn't.
And I believe he was eliminated really fast too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he pissed off. What was it? Two of the big guys.
He was eliminated by Lashley and who was the other guy?
Strowman, wasn't it?
Big E.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so that was cool that he got taken out like that. Again, Strowman being number 30,
and still losing.
Yeah. I don't even know why they did that. Christian coming back, that was cool. Hopefully they're going to use Christian because if he is cleared, hopefully he's going to be like something on SmackDown.
Oh, that'd be nice if he started working with Edge, where like they did an occasional tag match and.
Yeah. Well, if they do the Roman Reigns thing, I think he's going to be the one that helps him fight the family.
Yeah. Okay, that would be nice. I'd go with that. You bring Jeff Hardy into it, where you do a 6-man tag match at some point. Like, you can't have Matt Hardy, but you reunite the old school tag guys. Yeah. That's going to get a big fucking pop.
Yeah.
They will need a third one.
Yeah.
Because I think the other Uso is getting ready to be cleared back again soon, too.
Exactly. So you can easily set up a 6-man tag in the future where you've got Edge, Christian, and have it be like, well, we need a partner. And there's only one guy we could think of, and it's Jeff Hardy comes out. Like, his music would get a pop.
Something that confused me, one of them that I could think of real fast is when Jeff Hardy was eliminated and Orton was out there, why did he throw him over the barrier? Like it's I don't know if you noticed it. Like, after Jeff Hardy gets not eliminated, he fucking goes over and grabs him and throws him over the barrier. Like there's something that's going to happen later. But then that's when Orton gets injured, supposedly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I did notice that. I didn't know. I took it as like Orton was just trying to clear the path, but I don't know.
Yeah. And then there was something else that I can't think of right now, so we'll move on. I did like the big swing that Cesaro did. Anybody who's ever played the old wrestling games, you do the giant swing, and that's fucking fun.
Yeah, I always like Cesaro when he does that, because he always plays it off so well. Where he's just like, you okay?" And then around he goes. I do want to mention, very appreciative of seeing Kane. I was very happy to see that although he's got a bit of a belly, he's still in fairly decent shape for Mayor Gibbons or Mayor Jacobs. But I love Kane. You know, the little him and the Daniel Bryan meetup where they hug in the center of the ring. That was that was a nice little throwback. But just like the women's match that had issues, like I pointed out, they have too many of the same type characters. So you have Matt Riddle and Damian Priest battling it out in the corner, where they're taking turns of Matt Riddle doing his body blows, and then Damian Priest doing his kicks, and then Matt Riddle doing his body blows with a kick. And the problem with that is, in real life, they would both be dead and couldn't remember their names the next morning. So when you have that meetup, it looks bad on camera, because there's only so long you can watch two of those type fighters do it in the corner without being like, all right, where's blood? Where's mayhem? Where's carnage?
Go ahead. What are your thoughts of outside interference being eliminators?
Far too much of it this year. Far too. The what's his face having AJ Styles having the fucking security guard.
Yeah.
And the fact that I don't think it's going to lead to a good storyline.
No,
because the guy's not wrestling really. He's just a bodyguard.
Yeah, they're always.
I haven't seen him in the ring at all.
No, and I thought he was like a celebrity at first. That was just like in there, and then I realized that he was a nobody that they were just using as a big guy to help AJ Styles.
When he first showed up in that cinematic match, I thought it was I thought he was Shaq when he was the ninja. I was like, oh, cool, they have Shaq again. And then I realized it was him, and now he's a bodyguard.
Yeah, I mean, I think the outside the ring shit in the Rumbles needs to stop. I think the shit of them hanging off aprons needs to slow down. It once was a cool thing, you know, when you had performers do it, but when half of the people in the Rumble eventually fight somebody else on the outer apron, it's too much.
I don't have an issue with people getting involved in the Royal Rumble match. What I have a problem with is people that are not in the Royal Rumble match getting involved. And that's something that they keep doing every year. It seems like, because him to eliminate two people, you know, Big E and Rey Mysterio, they could have been eliminated by somebody else to start a new feud. But they're going to use this guy that's just a bodyguard to eliminate them.
I mean, I think they're
now. If they use it for a storyline, I feel like it would be with Big E versus AJ.
Yeah.
Another storyline I feel like they kind of missed was the Mysterios.
Yeah.
Like Dominic came in early, Ray came in after. I know I haven't watched it too much, but I believe Dominic and Ray are like kind of having issues on how Dominic should be wrestling.
Well,
so you could have led that to like Dominic eliminating Ray and then like setting up something there as well. Like,
well, considering Dominic was eliminated before Mysterio even got in there,
and came in. Yep.
I think the smart play is you do an angle where Mysterio has I wasn't there to protect you, and if you want, you could have it where Mysterio almost not a heel, but goes to a different, darker character where every time Dominic's in the ring, it becomes a dynamic where he interferes to the point where then it creates a feud between him and Dominic.
Well, that's already started the other way, where Dominic got involved in one of Ray's matches and got him disqualified, and Ray was kind of pissed at him.
I feel like he could have worked that into it,
but not Dominic
could have eliminated
unintentionally, though, where it's like he went to go do something and hit somebody else, and Rey Mysterio was caught up in the collateral damage. Yeah, that would work, because then you'd have Rey Mysterio being like, "I brought you into this, and you're what are you doing to me?"
Yeah, but I always felt that the Royal Rumble allowed you to create storylines, and I honestly don't think they created any except for possibly AJ Styles and Big E, and then Edge and whoever he goes against. So
yeah, I mean, and then you have it go from like on Raw, you have it go from Matt Riddle lasting a decent amount of time in the Rumble to on Raw getting decimated by Lashley to the point where they had him play it off like he couldn't remember who he was just fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, so like, and Lashley was working stiff though. Like he wasn't being nice. He was legitimately rough with him. I mean, he caught him in the face.
They're both former MMA. Well, not former. Lashley still is in MMA.
If you're not active, Riddle, you're not in it. Brock Lesnar.
I was gonna say Riddle. No, Lashley when they said that they weren't gonna test for marijuana, so that
Riddle could theoretically go back if he wanted. I mean, he had an 8-5 record. It was 8 wins, 3 losses, 2 no contests. So he wasn't bad.
The 2 no contests were wins that he lost.
Yeah.
So he said that his record is 10-3 or whatever.
No, it's 8.
Which is what I was talking about. Yeah.
Whether he wants to, the problem is if you agree to play a sport, become an athlete in a specific sport, you are fundamentally agreeing to abide by those rules, whether it be the NBA, the WWE, the UFC, the MLB, and if you can't abide by those rules, they're not robbed from you. You didn't do what you were supposed to, and they're not going to allow anything that they're not supposed to be allowed. I'm starting to like Riddle way more than I used to. When he first entered the WWE, I was pissed off because, like I said, he had a pretty okay fight career, and he pissed it away because he couldn't stop smoking pot. So for me, unlike a Ronda Rousey, or if a McGregor came over where they had this giant, they were a movement in themselves in certain degrees, Matt Riddle was a decent fighter who never got the liftoff he should have gotten because he couldn't stop smoking the fucking herb. And I just think that's stupid, personally. Now let's talk the top 4 and how Edge came to win this.
Here's an interesting thing too. I don't know if you guys noticed. Edge only had 2 eliminations.
He
eliminated Rollins and Orton.
Yeah, well, he
win.
definitely gave a punch to every
he was
person
part of
that entered
also
ring.
the Strowman one, wasn't he?
What's that?
He was part of the Strowman one as well, wasn't he?
Christian
No.
was.
That crew?
Wasn't Christian on the outside of the ring and pulled the rope down?
I think Seth Rollins, Christian was trying to pull him out, and Seth Rollins came over there and did the dump.
I'm trying to think. There wasn't. Let me see. I don't really have a ton of notes for the Rumble. Damian Priest versus Matt Riddle. Stupid.
Damian Priest and Rollins had the most eliminations, which was 4 each. Kane surprisingly only had 1. Usually he's got some big numbers, and that's it for that as far as who did well. Oh, and then non-participant Omos had 2.
And if I have to watch Bad Bunny for the next couple months, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
You are.
It's not.
Bad Bunny came out, slipped
Not
a
player.
roll off the top ropes was better than Snoop Dogg's on AEW's.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things people do better than Snoop Dogg. Like,
Did he almost
breathing
slip because he was wearing Crocs?
Maybe. Those are Bad Bunny Crocs that
Like,
sold
I
out
just
in
felt bad for Booker
minute.
T because the whole time he's standing there and Bad Bunny's doing his thing, Booker's in his head's just like, I deserve better, sucker. This is a
He
shit
did the
song.
same thing in the music video.
Yeah, it's the same
In that
thing.
music video, he just stands there.
That's because he's
And
very much
said
not
that as
happy.
well.
But
Not happy
that
about it.
wasn't Booker T. That was G.I. Bro.
That's Booker T.
That was his gimmick in WCW was G.I. Bro.
Well, G.I. Bro does look a lot like this wrestler named Booker T. So I'm just gonna call him Booker T. There was Booker T was this wrestler that during the Stone Cold era he had a cool grocery store fight with. The G.I. Bro back when he was part of Harlem Knights was his previous gimmick. Did have a language problem during promos against Hulk Hogan specifically.
I love seeing that clip.
I just
too.
watched a documentary about it, and like Booker T has a podcast, and they asked him about it, and everybody they interview about it starts off laughing. Like I watched one where they interviewed different wrestlers about it, and every time they bring it up, the immediate reaction is, oh yeah.
It's because of the instant regret,
Yeah,
and he
boy,
turns
does
away.
that.
He's like,
Ooh, like I can't believe I said that. Like
yeah.
McMahon is gonna be pissed, or they're gonna be pissed in broadcast. Turner's gonna have my head.
Sherry's reaction too was kind of like
You said
set
it.
it off even more.
You done
It
said
set it
it.
off even more.
But no, that whole botch is hilarious. Just how he looks at it, just that ooh, I fucked up, like that kind of like restraint he's trying to have.
Mm-hmm.
When the Rumble came down to the final 5, not the final 4 because Orton's still in it. I was really hoping at one point that it would have been like just Edge, Christian, and Strowman, and like they get him injured, and then Edge or Christian goes out and gets the chairs, and they did a concerto on Strowman, and then fucking tossed him out. Like when they do the chair,
bro.
He stumbles over to the rope and like leans over, and then they both come over and dump him out. That would have been great, and then have it
anymore, man.
And then have Edge and Christian be the last 2, and they're getting ready to fight. And then that's when Orton came back. They should have did it like that. That's when Orton came back and would like RKO Christian.
Well, nobody would have believed that one. See, that's the thing. You couldn't have Christian being the top 3 because you wouldn't have believed that Christian was going to win it. Right? So Rollins had to eliminate Christian.
Yeah, but
and
what you do is
then you had a feeling that it could have been either one of these guys, and you still remember that Orton's there. So then you start to think, hey, is Orton coming back to screw over Edge, and then Rollins wins, or does Randy win it?
They wanted Edge to win it clean one-on-one with Orton. I do feel, though, it would have been a better taste of medicine if they would have had it where Orton comes out to do what you know he's going to do, and then as he goes to fuck over Edge, you have Christian come out of nowhere and pull him over the rope or something and be part of his elimination. That's the one where you don't give Edge the clean win is the problem. Like, they had to give Edge the clean win over Orton to push him forward. Otherwise, he had interference from Christian without the help from Christian, and so they had to give him that one-on-one to solidify the fact that, like, yes, he won it.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
because you didn't want to continue to build on that story.
Yeah.
Which the very next night, they ended up squashing that in a regular match.
You can tell it was definitely the end of that storyline, moving into Edge's championship, proceeding towards it. Yeah.
Also, they birthed something that nobody knew about for Orton. He's got this amazing ability to heal.
Well,
So, like, just a week before, he had like a burnt face, and it was all like, glassy and stuff. And he showed up on Raw and RKO'd Bliss, and then he showed up in Rumble, which was a week later, and he was perfectly fine, no injuries, no burn marks. But he injured his leg, and he was healed by the end of the Rumble.
So what they need to do with the Fiend Bliss angle is have her turn into the Fiend. They need to do it where she could. There's going to be one of Fiend's rivals from before Wyatt went out. He's calling out people in the ring or something, and you have Bliss enter the center of the ring. You have the lights go off and everything, and have her whole intro, and then when the lights come on, she's gone and the Fiend is there. And you turn, as weird as it sounds, you try to babyface Fiend. Because people aren't going to dislike him. They like the darkness of him. So you need to capture them on his side. I think if they did it that way, where they reintroduce him, you've got a better shot of succeeding. But once again, you also need creative to write these storylines for him. It can't just be like, well, we're going to light him on fire this week. You know what I mean? Like,
They were trying to do that when they started putting the Fiend against Retribution, and he was I think he was about to fight them, but then they backed off on him. And
I mean, I think you need the Fiend to just. It's got to be. He's another one that I feel like having feuds with him is a bit of a mistake until you have whatever storyline that's going to go with it developed. Like, he really does need to start interrupting people's matches. Kind of like Sting used to do, stuff like that, to where make it seem at first more random, and then if you really want to continue with the mysterious character, you build a storyline around piecing the puzzles together of why he's screwing with who he's screwing with.
Well, they were kind of doing that already, because he's been facing a lot of people that either won over him previously in his other characters. The John Cena one.
There was
Rollins, I think he did.
Yeah.
And I really did like the fact that when he faced these people, they came out different. They weren't the same person anymore. Like Rollins did the heel turn after facing him.
True,
yeah. And then everybody else had been changing. Even Strowman's come a little different after he faced him.
Strowman needs.
They were doing a really good job of those.
Strowman needs a character change. His gimmick's tired. He's not interesting.
Doesn't he look like a giant man baby, with that bald head now?
He's getting in better and better shape though every time you see him. I mean, they really need to push him as no longer attached to the goofiness he once was. They need to push him as a serious contender. If you want to put him over as the big guy, let him run through people. Put him over as a big guy.
And he's not a bad worker either.
Do you remember when he was going to fight Brock Lesnar, and they were giving him a chance, and he's out there on the mic, and he's really bad with his mic skills, and you can see him on live TV. He's looking, he's he's trying to say the lines in his head, and then he says it on the mic, and he messes up. And
characters like that, people like him that don't have good mic work, need managers that are good with the mic, and so they learn how to be good with the mic.
I think him and Heyman
didn't say much originally, and then
that happened with Roman too.
I think once Roman and Heyman go their route, they should consider pairing Heyman with Strowman. And you turn it into basically Lesnar and Heyman didn't work out because Lesnar wasn't good enough. Reigns wasn't good enough. Heyman's finally found somebody good enough, and you allow Heyman to go on the mic. You let Strowman run through people. I'm not talking squash matches.
You can have. Think about that. You bringing it up. You can have Roman Reigns being look, you're a liability, cutting you off. And then
you could use the botch. You could use the botch too, where it's when I needed you most, what were you doing? You weren't there to help me. And then you could. That's
he turns to Braun Strowman, makes Braun Strowman the animal that he needs to be. as a revenge storyline.
Yeah.
And then as it all culminates, Heyman puts all his monsters together, and he's got the 3 towers.
I mean, yeah, you could eventually bring.
I mean, so you basically
it's a
have
fight for who gets Heyman.
You have Heyman back to where it's kind of the Lesnar situation, but even more control on Heyman's part, where Strowman at first is his dog until when their story finally breaks down to the point where the dog turns on the master.
Yeah, so you get Strowman becomes more comfortable with the mic, which is like when we've talked about before with Ronda. Like, she could have used the manager because her mic work was bad.
Yeah, so was her voice acting work.
So yeah. Oh no, they had that feud. So
no, I'm just kidding.
I had anybody
back in there.
I mean, you're also, when you have people like Ronda, it's a different universe. So people need to understand a person like Ronda is all about the dollars. They paid her a shitload of money. She generated subscriptions and merchandise and buys and ticket sales. That's what having somebody like Ronda in the WWE is about. That's what somebody having like a Matt Riddle to a certain extent. These gimmicks that they know that they can make a lot of money off of. It's no different than the UFC to a certain extent, where they put together pay-per-view events, and it's all about how much of the card gets bought. If it's a pay-per-view event, what was the buy-in? And WWE is in a lot of the same regard, where and that's where I don't defend McMahon on his decisions, but when it comes to his ruthlessness and his business tact and his obsession with how the stars look being the determining factor, he's not 100% wrong. Nobody wants to watch, if every star looked like, I can't remember his name, but the big bearded fat white dude that looks like a jelly bean with limbs. He looks kind of like me, but short. The redneck in WWE.
Otis.
If the entire roster looked like Otis, nobody would watch. And that's the truth of it. You don't. And the other thing is, the other problem is there's a lot of dudes in the roster, too, that are not in bad shape, but they're kind of that, like, skinny muscular or not, more like they're semi-muscular, where it's like the point of being a wrestler, a performer, is you're better than the average Joe. The average person can't jump into the ring and do what you do, and you do somewhat need to be a physical representation. There are exceptions, the Mick Foleys of the world, the Big Shows, although Big Show was in great shape at one point in his career. So you do have exceptions of those who do succeed.
He's in good shape now.
The Tazes of the world before he became a stuffed sausage. Samoa Joe being able to succeed for 15 years or whatever it was in the industry, maintaining his same buffet body. So if you're good enough, you can do it. But it's my belief that, like, they have the state-of-the-art shit. WWE at this point has state-of-the-art facilities, state-of-the-art training facilities, the best people to work with. If you're in WWE and you cannot get your skills and or body developed, that is your issue. Can't blame it on writing if you're not willing to put the work in.
They even have mic skills classes that you can partake in. And that's what NXT is all about. They have all that stuff that they work there. They're constantly filming promos so they can get better at talking, and they have all that shit that they can do there. They should be producing a way better product all around for every single one of them, instead of just either NXT at this time or SmackDown at this time. And for many years it was just Raw that was producing all that. But they've got three separate federations that they could be fucking doing really good shit with. But it's always one now. We're gonna do this one now. It just depends on who they're putting where. As far as creative,
I mean, I think if you want to get the NXT crew over, you have them invade the rest of the roster. So where you start taking enemies and having them start working together to fend off the NXT guys. You have NXT guys invade again
What was it, last year?
They did that in
Was it-
Survivor Series.
Last year they did that.
2 years ago, right?
Or 2 years ago, yeah, when everybody got stuck in Saudi.
I think
that was
I
that
think
storyline was real nice.
Yeah, I think you do it again. But I think you do it to where you kind of end after WrestleMania. I think you should end a lot of the storylines, which they normally do, and you pick it up where whether it be SmackDown or Raw, you have NXT infiltrating and fucking with them all, and you create somewhat of an ECW dynamic within NXT where like you give them more of that AEW feel. Right now NXT, the biggest problem as to why AEW is winning is because they feel like AEW chained up on the leash. It's still got that WWE overhead. I think if you allowed them to be a little bit more mature, you make NXT kind of the harder core brand, you give it a little bit higher rate. I'm not saying you need to have language drops like AEW does every 5 seconds, but I think there would be value into turning the NXT into the kind of more hardcore brand where I think the industry right now is kind of missing that as a whole. AEW is more mature, but then again, Cody Rhodes gets hit with a chair, and it's like no more chair shots. So
that was a botch as well.
That was shot for years.
We're working. We're all working chained up, and I think if they gave NXT to Triple H and said, "Look, here's your limit, push it to that," you'd have a deeper product. You would have people coming out of
Triple H in general had more charge. You'd have better storylines.
I'd agree.
NXT is his baby, and their storylines are probably some of the best.
Yeah,
their matches are some of the best.
I do feel they have a problem with releasing their dudes into the wild though. Like when they send their people up to Raw or SmackDown, the push is always so weak feeling. Like
because then you don't have Triple H has no control over them at that point.
So McMahon is still treating them as like children coming up, which is the problem.
Yeah, Vince, he needs to go.
All right,
he's got his moments, but he's done.
Well, he needs to get those yes men. He needs to get the Pritchards out of his ass. People who have learned to tell him what he wants to hear.
Like for Royal Rumble for Drew McIntyre, like if they would have built in Keith Lee somehow with him, they always put up good matches together.
I believe
always
Keith
have good matches together.
Has COVID right now. I think that's why he wasn't even in the Rumble.
Mia Yim.
Keith Lee is getting
tested positive.
Yeah,
they're squashing his push.
He's a big guy.
They're gonna bury.
He hates his song. But they changed it. He hates the song that he has. He's trying to get it switched up a little. But he's a big guy that's very, very talented. I see his matches, and it's never a bad match when he's on there.
No, but they're not going to...
Him and Dominic Dijakovic, or whatever his name is here on the main roster.
T-Bar?
Some of the best matches... Oh, yeah, T-Bar. Some of the best matches in NXT.
I'd like to see a match between him, Big E, and Otis. They're pretty.
I'm down with the Big E. Otis not so much.
What are you? They're all about the same fucking build.
Yeah, but Big E, Otis I think is limited athletically.
Well, he's limited in his skill set, but you don't have him be the main.
But Big E and this guy would definitely put on a good match, I think.
Yeah, but that match is also cliche. The two big black guys who are talented get to the ring. You know what I mean? Like. You need something to offset it. My thought was Otis, because Otis is an entertaining character. Big E is an entertaining character coming from the comedic past with him and Kofi and them. So it's like, I think you do a triple threat match with those guys, and you let them explore their athleticism in it. Keith Lee's got hops. Big E's an athletic guy. Otis may not be the most athletic, but he's a roly-poly dude. He can move around that ring. You give a triple threat match where three dudes of that size are moving around that ring with the speed and agility they can do. You'd impress people with that, and I don't think they push these big guys, and McMahon's got this thing where it's like, all right, we're gonna have him destroy the competition. Then all of a sudden he's gonna just lose his push. Like he'll get 4 matches where he destroys and then nothing, as opposed to like pair these guys up against each other.
We're gonna have
them where they have really good matches. Yeah, they have good matches, and then all of a sudden interference.
Yeah, pair them up against each other. Do a clean win. We're gonna go
Big
ahead.
E is the biggest improvement, though, out of a lot of the wrestlers that are still active. He went from just being the silent guy, like Dolph Ziggler's bodyguard, and not any mic skills at all, to this guy that fucking is so entertaining now. And
Well, that's what I said. That's why I've been saying, like, well, people like Braun Strowman, Ronda Rousey, put them with somebody that is established with the mic, let them learn, and then set them on their own way.
All right, so let's wrap this up and give our reviews. I'll go first. I don't know. I'm gonna go 3.5. It was pretty entertaining. I like some of the throwback. And I'm gonna go that high simply because I was happy with the Edge and Christian reunion, and Edge ended up taking the win, so that made me happy. The little kid inside of me was quite happy.
I will also give it 3.5. Same reason. Big Christian thing. Really gave it that extra half star. Because again, it's not somebody that wanted to stop wrestling. You just couldn't wrestle anymore.
Well, it was.
So seeing him come back was awesome.
It's also great that he comes back and he looks great. Like if he would have come back and he looked like Road Dogg, it wouldn't have been as nice. You know what I mean? Like he came back, he's cut, he's in great shape, he moved well. He's one of those dudes that as he ages, he looks better. Like his facial features, he keeps the shredded body. He's a better looking dude than he was when he was younger. So it works for him. If Edge would cut that fucking greasy hair off, I'd say the same thing about him. But so it was nice. Yeah, I agree with you. It was the Christian thing was one of my favorite parts of it for sure.
I'm gonna go with 4 stars in this one. I did like it. Edge and Christian coming back, that was fucking great. Seeing, I wish they had more NXT wrestlers in there though, because there's a lot of guys down there that can fucking make the roster now look fucking better, either by how they can take the fucking moves or how they fucking execute their own moves. But it was a 4-star Rumble for me, and I normally leave pissed off because of how it ends when I've been watching all the past Rumbles. I'm glad that it's also the person that won it is somebody like you said. He the only reason why he was out was because of a neck injury, and he thought he was never going to wrestle again. And when he came back on last year's Rumble, it showed that he's been putting in the work, and the way he performed, it wasn't like a one-off. It wasn't like John Cena coming back doing this and then he's gone, or The Rock coming back doing it and he's gone. I think he's actually gonna be full on. So we're gonna see him every week on all the shows and shit and performing, and it's good. It's just good to see him back again, man, because he was retired too early.
Yeah,
Which has led a lot of people to believe that Paige may eventually come back soon too.
Well, the crazy thing about Edge's story is before he had gotten himself back into shape, he said that he had kind of hit like a downward spiral, and he was out of shape and he was beat up, and then he kind of like turned himself around and wanted to make sure that he was there.
DDP yoga.
He was there for his daughters.
He's got a good wife too. He's got a good wife that.
Wait, who is he married to again? I know she's a star.
Beth
Phoenix. Yeah, so I'm rooting for him.
So, as you mentioned, there was only one NXT guy, which would be Damian Priest. But again, I think this is not his call-up, because supposedly he's going to have a storyline with him and Bad Bunny. So,
yeah, Damian Priest was the only one. Looking him out a little list.
Yeah, fuck Bad Bunny. Tired of him already. I've seen him twice in a week. Fuck him. Get out of here.
Oh, I was a little disappointed that the Boogeyman didn't show up, though.
If I write a song titled Bubba Ray, do I get a fucking spot on WWE pay-per-views? They're gonna bring in Bubba for me.
You have to go to ROH for that.
Yeah, well, there's a story behind that too that Bubba won't tell. He's only told "quote unquote" 50% of the story about basically he tried to bring the Bubba Ray character to McMahon when McMahon wanted him to come back as Bubba Ray Dudley. And McMahon basically was like, I know about Bubba Ray. I don't want him. And the reason why Bubba didn't come back to the WWE is he was basically, I'm done with Bubba Ray Dudley. Like, if you want, let me do this character for a year, and then we'll transition him back into Bubba Ray Dudley. But if you're talking me just going back to him, then I'm not doing it. And so they never got an agreement. McMahon didn't want anything to do with his character, that character version of himself.
The Impact one, you mean?
Yeah.
His Impact? Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap this up. We will be doing the Road to WrestleMania series, which is going to be weekly episodes covering not only the pay-per-views, but everything through the WWE. We'll also be doing AEW coverage on the weeklies. So look out for that coming to your weekly, and we will see you guys next time.
Take care.
Peace.